Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning. That was a lot of football. I hope you soaked it up. The Cougars win, the Aggies win, the Utes not so much. We'll hear from Kyle Whittingham. We'll get his post-game thoughts coming up. And the same for the Cougars and Kalani Sitake and Evan Johnson on his pick six and Bear Bachmeier in his first road start. But let's start with the Aggies and Bryson Barnes running wild. Touchdowns here, touchdowns there, tons of yards. Of course, they absolutely steamrolled McNeese to improve to 3-1. Here's Bryson Barnes after the game.
Bryson, I think that's an ice bath worthy performance tonight. How you feel? How you holding up after that one?
Hey, can't be upset about getting a dub. The bruises definitely feel a little bit better when you get the win. Yeah, there might be an ice bath or two in the future, no doubt.
I like talking to you every week, Bryson. That means that we're doing something right, don't you think? I mean, that's
Yes,
421 yards and 5 touchdowns accounted for. That's back-to-back weeks with 5 touchdowns accounted for. How much are you gaining more and more confidence? You're feeling the rhythm with your coach and the play calling. It just feels like it's getting better and better every week.
Yeah, no, it really is getting better and better every week. I mean, and I just, there's complete and full trust in Mac G and the things that he presents and the things that he puts us out there on the field for. I mean, I just have so much confidence in it. Like, there's no way to, put it. And, I definitely got to do better about some of my decision making this game. Little upset about that. I feel like I kind of left it too much out there, and I'm just grateful to be able to have a coach like Mac G, because I know he's going to get me right, and Coach John's going to hold that standard that I need to be upheld to. And I definitely feel like I left some out there, but always satisfied with the win.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we've talked about Kevin McGivern a lot, and deservedly so. He's a fantastic coach. But what is Matt Johns, who has played the position, what has he meant to your development too?
No, it's been great. Like, just to have a coach that, quarterback is just a unique position. And when you have a coach that has actually played the position, actually been back there with the bullets flying, dudes flying around, coming to take your head off, there's just a different nature of the position. So be able to have a coach like that has played it and knows what it's like, because it's you'd sometimes be in meetings with coaches that haven't played quarterback before, and they'll hit you with the, why don't we throw the ball here? And it was like, Coach, you just don't know what it's like back there. Like, that's not even open, respectively. And so be able
they
to have
don't do that
Johns,
here. They do that down south, but not here.
Wait, let's keep those down south comments out of here. But yeah, it's great to have Coach Johns. I mean, he's a great message relayer with when it comes to Mac G and his system, but also gives his own 2 cents with his own experience of what he thinks I can get better at. And it really is just a great combo to be able to be under and have those 2 coaches on top of me.
We talked to Coach McGivern last night a little bit, and we asked him about, that's 15 carries last week, 13 tonight. Some big hits getting taken and being given. I can tell you actually enjoy the contact, it sounds like. But, when do you look at it and say, all right, I got to get down, I got to play smart, versus, you know what, I'm going to go get the extra yard or 2?
Yeah, I got to be smarter. I believe, what were we up? We were up 20-something points, and right before the half. And there's a competitive nature to me and a physicality that I like to play with. And during the off season, I prepare my body to be able to play the way that I play. And throughout the week, I lift and I condition in a way to allow me to play it. But there's definitely times where I gotta be smarter, not only for myself but for my team. My teammates depend on me being out there at quarterback, and I definitely got to be smarter when I'm carrying that football.
So I kicked myself last week for not asking you about this. So we're gonna go back to last week a little bit. When you're out in the open field, speaking of running, and you see, you're the crash test dummy, like everybody's taking shots at you, but you see a guy in the open field, you know what? I'm going to deliver a hit. I'm going to show these guys what it feels like. What was going through your mind when you sized up that dude and said, you know what? I'm going to put a shoulder into this guy and make him feel it.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, is there really isn't much going through my head when I decide to ignore the shoulder, and I think that there needs to be more of something going through my brain. I think that's where I need to get better at.
Hey, so many of your formations have at least both Javen and Miles out there, but then with Noah coming out, you've got 3 running backs in several different formations. How difficult is it for an opposition to kind of key on where that ball's going?
Extremely difficult when you got three types of ball carriers that are very effective running the ball and also effective out catching a ball as well. And I mean, when you get those three out there, and then you start mixing in the threat of receivers that we have, and just a bunch of ballers out there on the edge, like it really is. I couldn't imagine what it's like trying to prepare against an offense like this when you got dudes like Braden and Brady, and you got Kahanu out there. Then you got Anthony Garcia, making dudes miss left and right. And then you bring in the tight end mix and the experience that we have there and the savviness in which they play. And then you add in all the running backs. Like, we are very dynamic and versatile, and there's just so many good things to say about our offense. And I feel like that's just kind of where my role really has got to come in, is just continue to make great decisions with the football and just let these guys, put them in a position to go make a play, because they're going to make it.
There's Utah State quarterback Bryson Barnes after the win over McNeese. Now here's the head coach, Bronco Mendenhall.
There's always things to nitpick, but overall, give me your early evaluation of what you saw tonight.
I was really pleased with the performance. Started with the week of practice. Diligent, tough, physical, lots of volume, very competitive, and racing against the clock to build an amazing program immediately, and certainly with really good coaches and a complementary style of football that would kind of manifest tonight. So I thought our team played really well. We were just talking about Bryson. Thought that was complemented really well defensively by the number of 3-and-outs and the field position. And I would say the special teams also. So there was a complementary approach. There was a comprehensive, I would just say, demonstration of kind of all parts of our program improving, and it manifests really clearly from the beginning of the game all the way on. So I was encouraged and really pleased.
All week long, Coach got asked about playing an FCS team like this, and some of the struggles perhaps that you've had in other places. You've talked about. I have to believe, and you even talked a little bit about, hey, this week it's about us and about our preparation. You can see the confidence building, and obviously that goes into the preparation during the course of the week. It sounds like your guys are getting that message and really locking in.
That they are. There was in the locker room this evening, as I was telling them, and to really enjoy how what it feels like to win and win consistently and expect to win and to celebrate responsibly tonight. They immediately said, here comes Tuesday. And they know what Tuesday's practice looks like. So they're responding already with the process. And that's a great sign. They believe in the process. They believe in the amount of work, the coaches, the plans, and each other. And that's a magical thing for a coach, that they're already thinking about preparing. I do want them to enjoy this one. I want them to savor. I want them to feel the value of their hard work, and I want them to do that responsibly. They're already anxious and eager to get back to work, which is a good sign when your team likes to play football and likes to prepare.
We've talked about Miles Davis and Javen Jacobs, but you got a young freshman who I think shows a ton of potential. Give me your thoughts on Noah White and what he could eventually become if he stays on this trajectory.
Yeah, Noah's one of my favorite players on the team. I noticed him in the spring. So Noah, we were interested in him at New Mexico, actually, as he was returning from his mission. Little did we know that we would end up at Utah State, and he would be at Utah State. And then, based on what I saw in the spring, and I rarely do this, but Noah's a return missionary, and a lot of times first-year players have to finish the fall, but we awarded him a scholarship, after the spring, because of what we saw, and the fans and you guys are just getting a glimpse of what that looks like. The team calls him Mini McCaffrey. They think he's like that, and man, he's tough and he's physical and he's quick and he's dynamic and he's multi-purposed, and so you just saw a glimpse, but he has a bright future here.
You talked about the complementary nature, obviously the defense swarming to the football. Even on the penalty that you got, it was because of the aggression of 11 to the ball and all 11 to the football like that. You're just seeing a culture on that side of the ball that's showing toughness. I remember a play down your sideline. It was a fade ball with Noah Flores, a physical nature at cornerback competing for every opportunity, and I just think that there's a culture starting to build there that says, hey, when they're getting in scoring territory, let's dial up the blitz and let's shut them down. No points allowed. What are you seeing on that side of the ball?
Yeah, we fight for every blade of grass, and it's part of our culture. It's part of our formula for winning, and it matters to these kids, and they're coached that way. And so as long as the ball carrier's up, as long as he's in bounds, as long as the play is still going, then we're going to play football. And so there's a physical nature and there's a confidence that just keeps developing and showing, but it's intentional and it's being promoted, and we work on it a lot. And so it's just becoming clearer and better each week.
And maybe this isn't a fair question to ask because, evaluation in the middle of the season may not be fair, but do you feel like you're ahead of schedule with this team?
I don't really gauge. I didn't have a schedule. I know what our feedback loop looks like, and we assess and then we learn and apply, right? And we assess and we learn and apply, and we assess and we learn and apply, and we have sub-cycles of feedback that happen in the meantime, and we use the statistics, but we also look at the culture. And, the team tonight that came in had scored over 50 points in their first game and over 40 last week. It's not that they weren't capable. It's just our players prepared really, really well and diligently. And so they're embracing. I'm not going to say whether we're ahead or behind, but it's a beautiful start. And we're still disappointed, right? The Texas A&M game was what it was. We actually believed we could go and win. And thought, we could chip away and make that go right down to the wire. And so we're not conceding to anybody. And we're just going to keep chipping and working and becoming. And whoever we play next, then here we go.
You're right. The explosiveness of this McNeese team, they came in with many, many big explosive plays, and you held them to just 5 explosive plays here tonight and 239 yards of total offense. My question, Coach, is you're seeing it play out in front of us, the confidence level that you're playing, your kids are playing with. How, as a coach and a coaching staff, do you teach or build confidence?
Yeah, simple successes. So every time there's a success, and you get what you manage, and you get what you evaluate, right, and you get what you celebrate. And we believe in swift and certain, not only accountability for things that need to be better, but also successes where we celebrate wildly. And we know with young people especially, the number one motivator for young people is a sense of improvement, that they're getting better. And so we don't let a day go by when something positive happens, that we don't acknowledge that. We also don't let a day go by where any action that needs to be corrected, we let that go. And so that helps the kids become more resilient, tougher, more physical, more confident, because they're seeing the improvement and it's being measured and tracked. And they're just watching, much like just a chart. They're just watching their trajectory. And there's ups and downs, but overall there's more ups than downs, and it's a slope that's pretty steep on the uphill in terms of the progress they're making. And there was never an acknowledgement. We go right from Air Force and the option and McNeese. There wasn't a mention of anything other than wanting to play better and better football, and what the next opportunity would look like regardless of who we played, which is a really mature and experienced football team.
A mature statement I thought Bronson Olivow made in his evaluation of the game was that we had a great week of practice, that we had a great week of preparation, and that he attributes how the result tonight actually started on Monday and Tuesday of this week. And I think that shows a level of maturity from your guys, realizing that if we put in the time early in the week, then we see the results that can take place on a Saturday.
They totally know, and we brand it, and it just simply is, and they'll probably start repeating to you that Tuesday demands payment. I mean, Tuesday doesn't care who's winning or who's playing or whatever your score is or your record. The preparation starts in earnest on that day, and if you don't pay, if you don't invest, if you don't get the volume and the quality of work done, Tuesday's gone. And then the kids talk about, our players talk about Wednesday's Tuesday's brother, and it's coming to collect also, right? So they're just kind of framing it as this cultural next challenge in relation to the quality of their preparation and how that's tied to outcome.
He did say Saturday was payday, thoh.
He did, and you said there's still 2.5 hours left.
There you go.
Be careful with that.
So it's fun how they're framing it because they're accurate.
How much fun are you having with this?
I love the development of young people and watching them grow. And if I can influence and impact in any way possible, it's just it's why I coach. I just love seeing the team and individuals grow and improve. It's more gratifying than I can even describe.
Coach, thanks for your time.
Thanks
we look forward to chatting with you coming up a little later in the week, and should be a fun one next week in Nashville.
Thank you both. I also want to just acknowledge I'm just so appreciative of our fans, what the environment like is in Maverick Stadium, what the herd is like. Our alumni continue to keep showing up more and more each week, and the folks from Cache Valley. So I'm just really fortunate to be here, and I wanted to thank them for the environment they're creating.
There is Aggie football coach Bronco Mendenhall. We'll take a break. When we come back, Brady Quinn talking with PK and I on the Fox broadcast crew. We were up talking to him Friday afternoon. And also we heard from Kyle Whittingham after the Utes lose on Saturday. That's next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. Well, the Fox crew came and went. The Utes, they hung in there for a little more than 3 quarters, 13-10 game. They weren't playing great. They had a chance, and then Tech blew it open with 3 straight touchdowns and a 34-10 win. Before we get to Kyle Whittingham's post-game thoughts, on Friday, PK and I went up and talked with Urban Meyer, and we talked with Brady Quinn, former Notre Dame quarterback, now on the broadcast team for Fox, and talked to him about the Big 12 and some bigger college football issues. Here's Brady Quinn with PK and I. There's been a lot made about the Utah offensive line. Kyle Whittingham at the Big 12 Media Day said this is the best offensive line he's had at this school in his time here. Given some of the deficiencies, or at least unanswered questions you just mentioned, how far can they ride a domino line when they've got a good defense?
I mean, that's what wins championships. I mean, I don't care if you're talking about your conference or a national championship. When we go around the country and look at all these different teams, that's the first spot you notice the biggest difference. Do they have the studs up front or do they not? And if they do, they're going to have a chance. And I always feel like, to me, the offensive line is more important. Call me biased as I'm a quarterback, but I also think the offensive line dictates the game. Meaning, if you've got the ball and you can play that ball control and you can run and you can pass, do whatever you want, it literally controls the game and limits what the other side's going to be able to do. So, to me, the best offensive line usually ends up being the team that ends up winning out, especially in those big games, those big matches.
There's a lot of run-pass option built into this, and they seem to be thrown to a lot of wide-open receivers, intermediate, 10, 12, 15-yard stuff. Do you think that's sustainable as they get into conference play, or is part of that the fact that they're playing teams that are overmatched physically?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, it is sustainable because of the scheme. Oftentimes you get a little bit bigger windows like that when you play teams that are playing zone coverage because they don't feel like they can match up in man-to-man. Like, I'm not one of those where you're not a believer in running RPOs versus man-to-man because, again, the guy you're reading triggering, he's assigned to a guy in man-to-man coverage. You'd rather just throw a drop-back pass play. So schematically it changes a little bit. So if, for example, if you're looking at it from Texas Tech standpoint, Utah plays a ton of man-to-man, so you're not going to run a ton of RPOs. You're going to run in situations where you're going to get zone. You can read that zone defender, putting a run-pass conflict, and then go from there. So the coverage will tighten up as they get into conference play, and they start to play better opponents, but I still think there are plays to be made. There's no doubt.
From the state of the college football perspective, and I know college football obviously being dear to you, you see Notre Dame play 2 tough opponents right off the bat, and they lose, right? And we saw what happened last week. And some people saying, well, they're out. And then we saw that the conferences now are going to up to 9 conference games. What do you think about some uniformity in terms of the number of conference plays and also non-conference, that there's not this wide variety and just, as I say, variety of scheduling?
Yeah, before we expand the playoff, I think that's the first thing we need to do. I'm glad the SEC is finally adding, a 9th conference game. Now it'd be nice for them not to play a cupcake in November, and basically, which is essentially another bye in their schedule. Everyone's going to talk about how good their conference looks right now. It's like, well, you're playing early in the season, and you really haven't played anyone yet. And then you have those cupcakes later on in November. So I'm 100%, with trying to find a more level playing field for all the Power 4 conferences. And then from there, we kind of figure out how we make these week 0 to week 3-ish kind of games work. And maybe we save week 4 afterwards conference games. Like, my whole thing has always been, outside of the New Year's 6 that obviously are now part of the playoff, and we can get into a philosophical debate about why they should be still a part of it. All those other bowl games, like, go partner up with these conferences and then make them a non-conference game at the beginning of the year. You get to that point in time in the year where you've got teams who are decimated by transfer portal or a coaching change. They have a hard time getting attendance because, whatever the record is of those 2 teams. These, bowl games could probably have better attendance. Teams that are still very much in the hunt for their conference, for maybe the national championship, playing in the playoff, by parting and moving those bowl games to like earlier in the year. So I think there needs to be some adjustments and some shifts. There's just some people who are still hesitant to do so, and they've got their own reasons for it.
Utah got close against Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, but couldn't get over the hump and win the game. And Arizona State got close in the playoff against Texas, couldn't get over the hump and win the game. There's no Big 12 teams in the top 10 now. Even the ACC has a couple. Big 10 and SEC have most of them. What does the Big 12 got to do to get over that hump?
Well, there's only 3 in the top 25 too right now, which gives you a sense of kind of what the public perception is of the conference as a whole. They don't feel like it's very deep. They've got 3 good teams at the top, and then it kind of drops off from there. And as you pointed out, they look at them and they don't think they're the same caliber. Now, and I would say I think Utah and Texas Tech, to me, look to be a grade above where Iowa State is. And so to me, there's some separation there. But I think the biggest thing is you've got to find ways of scheduling those non-conference games to take them on, or when you're kind of touting your conference, looking at that non-conference schedule or record before you really get into conference play to kind of use that right now. I mean, the Big Ten's kind of dominated the SEC, and the SEC hates hearing that, but that's the reality of it. So that's the really only way you can change perception is get some of these teams that get more into the playoff. Get some of these teams to be able to kind of dominate throughout non-conference play, and I think it changes that perception.
With the 12-team format, you okay with the 5-11?
Well, that'd be 16, but I'm kind of more apt to. I'm more apt to 16 for this reason. I don't think we deserve to have buys, to be quite honest with you. So I'd rather see them play, everyone play, and not have those bye weeks. I think I'm more apt to feel that way, in part because I feel like it allows there to be a little bit more hope and being inclusive to a lot of those. I think if we start doing these automatic qualifiers, it really limits, year to year. I think certain conferences maybe getting a few more teams when they're deserving to get in. And so that's kind of my biggest concern as we expand is if we start saying like, well, the Big Ten's safe because they get 4, and the SEC gets 4, and these conferences only get 2. It's like, why? Like, there's going to be some down years. That's not like, the Big Ten or SEC, everyone's going to always have to be as dominant as we perceive them to be. So I think 5-11 makes the most sense for an expanded 16-team playoff.
So no buys for anybody?
No buys for anyone. I mean, come on. We talk about how many games these kids play. One, we have multiple buys worked in throughout. You have gigantic rosters, and on top of that, like in high school, they play to 15, 16 in some cases, depending if they're winning a state championship.
All right, there's Brady Quinn on Friday afternoon after their rehearsal for their Saturday morning show. Now here's Utah football coach Kyle Whittingham after his Utes lose to Texas Tech 34-10. The offense couldn't move the ball. 4 turnovers. They did get 2 takeaways, but the 4 turnovers really hurt them, obviously. Didn't think they won a line of scrimmage. They didn't run for 100 yards. The offense really struggled, and they don't throw the ball well down the field. And when they did, they made mistakes. Took 1 touchdown off the board with a penalty, had a chance to hit on another big play, and didn't, and threw an incompletion. A lot of things went wrong. Kyle Whittingham tells you about them right here on The Zone.
I'll start off by saying that was a really good football team we played. Give them a lot of credit. They've really assembled themselves a really good roster. And like I said, they're talented, physical. So, yeah, it was a good football team that we faced. We didn't do anything to help our own cause, particularly on offense. First quarter was a disaster, 2 turnovers. With the fumbles, another turnover on downs, 4th and 1, you got to convert that. Touchdown called back because of a penalty. So really didn't get into a rhythm on offense essentially the whole morning, afternoon. Nice 2-minute drill in the first half, got us a field goal. Then we had the 1 touchdown drive in the second half, but other than that, we didn't play, like I said, with much rhythm or much continuity. Ran the ball very poorly, way under 100 yards if you take away the garbage yards that happened, those last 3 or 4 plays. And so that was disappointing. I never would have believed if you would have said we were going to lose the line of scrimmage. Never would have believed that in a million years. But we did. We didn't win the line of scrimmage. Defense played lights out for 3.5 quarters, and then it went from 13 to 34 in the blink of an eye. And it can't happen. I mean, it just can't happen. You got to finish games, and you got to keep keep your poise and keep doing the things that you were doing the first 3.5 quarters. We can't let things get away from us like that in the fourth quarter. And kind of reminiscent of last year when we had chances to put people away in the fourth quarter and win a game with one stop, and just couldn't do it. So we got to continue to look hard at that. Looking for positives. I thought our punter punted the ball very well. He did a good job. Came up with a couple takeaways on defense. Noah Benny, exceptional interception in the end zone, and then we had the other one on the tip ball. But we didn't play the run exceptionally well either. And like I said, for us to lose the line of scrimmage is that doesn't happen very often, but it certainly happened today. So we've got to regroup now. We got a tough road trip to West Virginia. We're playing well. Rich Rodriguez is a great football coach, and they'll be ready for us. There's no doubt about that. East Coast trip, so we got to leave a day early next week, and so it'll be a little different schedule, but that's neither here nor there really. But like I said, the bottom line, we lost the turnover margin 4-2, and again didn't convert on the fourth down and short. It seemed like we battled field position all game. We were in tough field position. We could never tilt the field back our way because we couldn't make enough first downs on offense. We couldn't move the chains enough to give our defense some breathing room, and so it seems like they had their back to the wall a good portion of the game. But they won the game. We got to review the film, fix our deficiencies, and get back at it come Monday. I mean, you can't sit around and feel sorry for yourself. You just got to get back at it and go to work and try to figure out how to beat the next team. So, questions?
Kyle, you mentioned that the offense just struggled to get into a rhythm all game. Do you feel like that was sort of a play calling thing, or were the turnovers just too hard to overcome?
Well, I think it was a combination of things. Certainly the turnovers, you only get about 10 or 11 possessions a game on average. Some games are more, and which is about three or four a quarter max, 2 to 4 a quarter. And if you turn it over twice and turn it over a third time on downs, that doesn't help your cause. Have to take a look at the film and see why we didn't win the line of scrimmage. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't have a great answer right now. We just didn't play up to our usual standards up front.
Kyle, on both of the scoring drives, you guys went up-tempo a little bit. Was there ever any consideration to maybe go up-tempo for the rest of the game?
That's up to Jason. It's his offense, and you're right in the respect that we did have success doing that, those two drives, and maybe in hindsight we should have. I mean, that's a good thought.
When it comes to the slow starts, this has kind of happened a little bit in Wyoming, maybe a little bit in Cal Poly. Is there any particular reason why you think that this team is starting slow and not getting into that rhythm?
No, don't have a good answer on that either. You obviously judge the game in its entirety, but you're right. We have seemed to come out of the gates with not a lot of production.
How did things change when their backup quarterback Will Howard came in?
Not a lot. I mean, the new kid came in and did a good job, and the Q run game dose went higher, and he did a nice job running the football and took care of the ball. And so, there wasn't a lot of drop off. He was very productive.
Coach, is there a strong level of trust in Devin to execute what he needs to in the vertical passing game?
Yeah, absolutely. And Devin, I'm sure he's disappointed today, like everybody else. But he's a competitor, and he's a great athlete, and he's a guy that'll come back. My guess is he'll be ready and really good next week.
Where do you feel like this offense needs to improve most to get back on track?
Well, based on today, take care of the football. You cannot turn the ball over 4 times. You turn the ball over 4 times, your chances of winning are 15%. The only thing that would fix that is if your defense took it away 4 or 5 times, in the same game. And so you just can't. I mean, that's excessive turnovers. That's you'll turn it over nearly 50 times in the year if you do that. So that is the biggest problem today. If you want to say what is the biggest problem, turnovers. Second biggest problem, not controlling the line of scrimmage.
Coach, on that touchdown that got called back to Jackson Benny, was there, or just from your perspective, was there a miscommunication maybe on the ineligible offensive lineman?
Yeah, lineman didn't hear the entire call, and didn't realize that it was a RPO or play action, and it was the correct call by the ref. I mean, he was 8 yards downfield. He was way down there. So, yes, miscommunication, to answer your question.
Kyle, you have a lot of new players, a lot of new leaders on this team. This is the first time they faced adversity. Are you curious to see how they respond after something like this?
Yeah, absolutely. And my guess is they'll answer the bell, but we'll find out. And the locker room was good. There are a lot of upset people in that locker room, and it hurts, and it should. This is a hard-working team, and they prepared well. We had a really good week of practice. And, again, we just, for whatever reason, we're in a funk on offense today and could not get into a rhythm.
Coach, a big bright spot on defense was Nate Ritchie. Can you speak to his game today?
Yeah, he was all over the field and did a nice job. Still got to clean up some tackles. There were some missed tackles that we got to continue to work with him on. But he is a fierce competitor, and he's instinctive. He's always around the ball. And the nature of his position, that position in our defense has got to make a lot of tackles. Just it's inherent with the position. But he's a tough guy and a really good player.
Coach, you've mentioned in the past that you want to get more wide receivers involved. Ryan Davis was the only wide receiver that caught a pass, or true wide receiver, I guess. Just has that, I guess, limited the efficiency of the offense, not having a consistent threat there at that position?
For sure, and we got to find a way to get a threat at that position. And you're right, we didn't get much involvement with the wideouts today. But you got to get open. I mean, you got to get open to get the ball, and so we got to do a better job of coaching them to help them to get open.
Coach, on that second drive of the game, when you got stopped on 4th down, Nakari looked like he may have gotten the first. Was it a decision to not challenge, or?
I was going to challenge it, and I went to the ref to say we want to challenge. He says replay had already confirmed, because they're looking at every play, and so if they've already confirmed it, because it was in the ref's ear right there, because I saw the same thing everyone else did on the board, and he said, Coach, don't waste your challenge. Replay has already confirmed the call, and you'll just get the same answer, that confirmed. So. But yeah, that was in my mind a challenge. But when I got that information, that obviously would have been a bad decision to do that.
All right, there's Utah football coach Kyle Whittingham. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to hear from the Cougars as they win at East Carolina. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. BYU blows out East Carolina. It was a close game late in the first half, 6-3, just field goals. And then Evan Johnson gets the pick six, picks it off at the 5. 2 steps later, he's in the end zone. Here he is with a big play that gave the Cougars the 13-3 lead.
Yeah, I have, but no, that was up there for the top moments of my life.
The pick six, did you know it was coming? You jumped on it immediately. What happened on that?
Yeah, it was just something we saw in film the whole week. Coach Hall gave me a good call to get the opportunity to go jump it. Then I got the 3-step. The quarterback gave me the 3-step, and that was my opportunity and just know I got to go make a play and get the ball.
What did your first interception do, maybe to change the momentum, the outlook of this game for you guys?
I don't know. It was just, I feel like our D-line got some good pressure in there. And that just allowed me to get the opportunity to get the pick. I seen the concept, something that we've seen all week. And I just knew when I got that chance, I was going to go make that play.
What was going through your mind, though, on that first interception? You ran it back into the end zone and then coming
back?
back?
I was trying to I was trying to go to the crib. I was trying to go to the end zone. So that's just my thought right there.
How do you think the defense performed overall? It was the bend but don't break, but are you guys fairly happy with how you performed?
Yeah, I feel like anytime you can come into another opponent's stadium and get the win, that your defense played good. I feel like we still have a lot of things that we could clean up to really become an even better defense, but I feel like as a defense collectively tonight, we handled ourselves good, and we had a lot of good plays.
It was your guys' first road trip of the season. What was that like, just being out here on the East Coast, two time zone difference for you guys?
Yeah, it was definitely different. Just got out here a little extra earlier, but I feel like our mindset allowed us to really stay locked in and really be able to make those plays. So I feel like no matter where we have to go, if we come with that right mindset and just believe in our coaches and our other teammates, that we'll be fine no matter where we're at.
How strange was it driving an hour and a half into the game today from Raleigh?
Yeah, it didn't make much of a difference for me. I just took a nice little nap. I feel like that's probably the reason I got the pick six, is because I took a good nap. But yeah, it was nothing crazy.
Was the defense upset that you guys gave up your first touchdown at 11 straight quarters and then that got snapped?
Yeah, we're a little disappointed, but, at the end of the day, I feel like we played good and we kept them at the end zone a good amount of times when they're in the red zone. So I feel like as a defense collectively, we still got, like I said, a couple things to clean up, but I feel like we're happy as a defense about our performance.
Were your parents able to make the trip from California?
No, they weren't. It's hard to get in some of the airports here, so they decided to watch from home. Right when I'm done with this, I'm calling my mom, though, so, yeah.
Kalani said Jay Hill thought you might have had a couple other picks that you missed out on tonight. And I saw you in the second half. You were kind of hitting your helmet. Was that due to that frustration? You thought you had a couple more in you?
Yeah, I just feel like, there's a couple moments where I could have been a little more sound in my technique, and then just that would have allowed me to go make the plays. And those little things are the things that can change more games. If I get a third one there, you never know what could happen. So just cleaning up those little things, even if it's not that big of a deal, I still made the play. But just having the opportunity, you don't get a lot of those opportunities to go get the ball. So when those come my way, I feel like I have to really capitalize and make the best of them.
How much confidence are you in this defense playing with right now?
I feel very confident. I've been in it for 3 years now. I've been like Coach Hill and G and Eddie, and those guys have really allowed me to learn and just, feel confident in all the play calls and all that, along with my technique. I feel like my technique has really just been just improved over the offseason, and that's been a big help for me.
There's Evan Johnson talking about his big pick six. Now the freshman quarterback Bear Bachmeier making his first start on the road.
Bear, people said this was going to be a big test for you, your first kind of big test. How do you think you performed? How do you think you did?
Yeah, I think the team did really well. I think all three phases, offense, defense, and special teams. And, if you want to count a fourth, the fans. So I think it was easy to settle in knowing that the support around me was great.
Bear, what led to you guys getting into a rhythm, it felt like, early in the second quarter or in the second half there?
Yeah, I think it just came down to execution. Not that we weren't executing in the first half. I think there are throws that we want back. There's some plays that we want back. But I think when we got in the red zone, we scored and we just executed.
How much of a focus was it from Roderick coming into this game for you to take more shots downfield? That first play of the game, you're going deep.
Yeah, we always want to have an emphasis on running the ball, and I think today was a great time to kind of start airing it out, and not that we haven't. I think Coach Jeyarajah called a great game, and on that play, yeah, we just wanted to air it out, and, yeah. So
your long touchdown run, what was it? Just that wasn't working. Then all of a sudden you just popped it. What happened there?
Yeah, just saw some space and, saw the goal line and wanted to get in.
How potent can this offense be when you guys are balanced like you were in that second half where they're stacking the box and you're attacking through the air and then you hit them on the ground?
Yeah, very potent. I think when everybody's, when everybody's doing their 111th, I think we're unstoppable. So we got to keep executing.
Was there too much made about the East Coast travel, time zone? It seemed like you guys weren't even phased at all by that.
Yeah, I think that's a testament to our staff and all the hard work that they do and just kind of the science behind how to optimize our performance and how to optimize sleep and et cetera. So I think it's a testament to them.
Their coach had said something about you lock onto your primary receiver. I don't know if you saw that, but did that have any effect on the way you played?
No, sometimes we throw the ball to some guy, and you got four guys out there, so sometimes one guy's going to get it more. So,
how would you describe your connection with Carson? You guys have had a couple of touchdowns now throughout the first 3 games.
Yeah, he's quote unquote security blanket. He's a bigger body and great catch radius, so and our relationship is great, and he's a great dude. So, he's very deserving of his production.
Did the noise bother you at all early on in this game? The environment on your first road start?
It was there. I thought it was more cool than stressful. It was like, holy cow, these guys are going crazy, So, yeah, I thought it was more cool.
How much does it ease the stress levels when you got L.J. Martin in the backfield?
A lot, yeah. He's having a veteran, and even Sione. Two guys that have played, and we made a lot of checks, and they validated a lot of them as well. And I was kind of whisper like,
this is your first time seeing Cougar Nation on the road. What do you make of the fan base that showed out to support you guys tonight?
Yeah, I think these are the best fans in the country. We're on the East Coast, and it feels like a home game. So,
what would you say about the preparation you guys put in with that whole bye week and getting ready for this one and this performance tonight?
Yeah, I give a testament to Coach Mitchell and Coach Jeyarajah. The whole offensive staff. Winning games comes down to preparation and being schematically sound, and so it's a testament to them, and all we have to do is go out and execute. But behind the scenes, it's those guys.
Big 12 play coming up next week. Now it's the chase for the championship. Like, how are you guys going to attack this, get ready for a Big 12 play now?
Yeah, I think we just going to continue what we're doing, and we celebrate today, and then we flip the page, get going on Monday, and, just keep the momentum and keep doing what we're doing.
There's BYU quarterback Bear Bachmeier. Now here's the head coach, Kalani Sitake.
Happy with the win. Obviously, not everything went perfect, but you have to give a lot of credit to East Carolina and the way they played this game. I know they're juiced up, ready to go, and I thought at the beginning, I thought defensively we took them out of their rhythm, out of their fast pace. Our guys, defensively, I thought Jay did a great job getting the defense to respond and play to their speed, and then they end up not going as fast as they did before, which was a huge benefit for us and for Jay to get his calls on the sideline. But obviously, offense, we had some mistakes that took us out of drives, a lot of penalties, not disciplined enough as a team, but we'll get that fixed. I mean, if we just move our feet instead of grabbing, I think we'll be fine. But I had to look at the film, the uncharacteristic mistakes, and just like I didn't like the taunting penalty and all that. We're so much better than that. So I need to do a better job of getting these guys more disciplined. But thankful that we got the win. I mean, we came away with a 21-point win, and I can't really complain about that. But there's a lot of things that we can fix. We'll be happy about the win, but we got to get back to work on Monday and be ready to roll. What questions you guys have for me?
How would you assess how Bear Bachmeier played in his first game?
I thought in the second half, in the first half, you saw him miss some throws. I know he wished he can have those back, but I think given the environment, the hostility here, I think it was a good step for him in the right direction. And then we saw him play much better in the second half. So I think hopefully he's turned the corner, and we can rely on him being a veteran now with 3 games under his belt. I mean, no longer a true freshman, So I like the checks that he made, the audibles, and he did a great job. I mean, he's super intelligent and put our offense in a really good spot, especially in the second half. He did a great job with the whole setup, and obviously we can count on him running, but I thought he threw the ball really, really well, especially in the second half.
Was this the Bear Bachmeier you guys always knew you had when you got him from Stanford?
Yeah, and I think we just got to get some consistency, sustain drives, get third and manageable. I think we got ourselves in third and some long ones, and those are really difficult for anybody, even a rookie quarterback. So we got to help him out a little bit more. And I just like the way the guys just kept sticking with it. I mean, in all 3 phases, the guys played really, really hard. We can count on our punter to flip the field for us and make it hard for an offense to go 90, 95 yards on our defense. Most teams can't do that, So I think we played some really good complementary football all 3 phases.
What are your thoughts? Johnson, 2 interceptions on back-to-back plays. Have you ever seen that?
Well, I mean, he should have had more. Just so you know, and Jay thinks he should have had 2 more. So that's. I just love the way he plays. I mean, he's developed so nicely into a really good quarterback, and so I'm really proud of him and the way he played this game. And then our fans, how awesome are they to show up? And there was a lot of them here, so it was a lot of fun.
Defense was a little bit bend but don't break.
Yeah.
Overall, were you pretty happy with it?
You know what? One thing that I know that Jay and the rest of the defense coaches can be upset. We gave some third and longs. Like that's not us. We give some big plays, but you have to give them some credit. I mean, Hauser's been really, really accurate as a passer, and so they made some throws that we weren't anticipating, but we'll get those fixed. And I just feel good about the way that they're progressing. We just gave up too many chunk yardage, too many big plays, and Jay's really upset that we gave up a touchdown right there at the end. It just looked like the guys didn't tackle well and maybe gassed a little bit there, but they just that's football. You gotta toughen up sometimes and make plays, especially on third down.
How important was it to get this game played at the tempo you guys play at?
Yeah, I mean, I think the key was we knew they were going to go fast on offense, and then they didn't, which is a sign that defense is doing a good job and they're not being effective on their drives. And so I think as they slowed it down, I think we were able to settle a little bit. But we're going to have to get used to every team being able to do all kinds of tempos. And we knew we wanted to huddle in this game, and we wanted to be efficient with the offense. And it was okay. It wasn't great, but I like the way that we're moving, and I like the progress that we're making as a team, especially on the offensive side.
How'd you feel about the balanced play calling on offense, where you were attacking them both ways, passing and on the ground?
Yeah, I thought that's what we wanted to do today, and I think we're going to have to lean on Chase and Parker and Cody and all the other receivers, Tiger and those guys making plays, and Carson is a tight end receiving for us. So I thought overall, I love the way the guys played, and also Shehan Jeyarajah is a good receiver out of the backfield too, and so is LJ. So we have a lot of weapons, and we know we're gonna have to throw the ball and run the ball. I just like that we can A-Rod can decide whatever he wants to do and how he wants to attack it. Either way, I'm good with whatever we can do is skip points on the board.
How'd you come out of it health-wise? It looked like Lowatow went out for a little bit.
Yeah, he's banged up, but he came back in, and these guys are sore. They'll be fine. It's a lot easier to nurse your soreness when you have a victory.
LJ Martin had another game with a 40-yard run. He's had one in every game so far. What does that do as far as him being able to consistently hit big runs like that for your guys' offense?
Yeah, and I think he did it against pressure, especially that last one that he hit, and that's a good sign. That means the O-line is getting on their blocks, and it wasn't perfect with the O-line, but man, they're doing their best. And some of the holds is just like hanging on at the last second. You don't need to do that, and they'll get better at that. Well, it's really good film for us to improve on.
Was it a point of emphasis to attack downfield? That first play of the game, Bears going downfield, was that a point of emphasis to be aggressive on the offense?
Well, we know that he can do that, and so I think we tried doing it over. I mean, I think Cody had one at Bear. If you just get the ball a little bit higher and a little bit further, it would have been an easy touchdown on the post. But those are good to get on film. Even if we don't convert them or make the throw, it's good for him to see that and go through the experience of it all.
There's BYU football coach Kalani Sitake. Hey, remember, we are brought to you in part by Beehive Meals. Join Hans and Scotty Wednesday for a Cougar preview show brought to you by Beehive Meals. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know. News update. This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
Andre Schmidt for the win from 55 yards out. 2 seconds left. Snap is back. Kick is up. And the kick is right down the middle. And it's gone. Wait, there's a flag. Green Bay's throwing helmets.
Time Green Bay.
The Browns have beaten the Green Bay Packers.
Pitch to Swift. Tosses it back to Caleb Williams. Looking deep down the left side. Going for Luther. Burning over the shoulder. 20, 10, 5, end zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears.
It's down. The kick is on the way. And it is good. Eddie Pinheiro wins it for the 49ers.
What a game. What a game under the circumstances.
He brings Kareem Hunt in motion to him. Now he pump fakes right, throws up for the end zone, and the pass is caught. Tyquan Thornton, touchdown! Kansas City, Tyquan Thornton with the TD on a 5-yard throw by Mahomes, and he threads the needle for the first Chiefs touchdown of the game.
They blocked him the last time. The ball is spotted. The kick is away. It's blocked! It's blocked! It's picked up by the Eagles. Running with it is Davis. 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown! Game over! Jordan Davis.
Are you kidding me?
Blocked him again.
Are you kidding me?
Blocked him again. Have you ever seen anything like this?
Highlights from a wild day. A lot of games going down to the final seconds. In multiple cases, the final play. PK, we got a lot of close games. Got a few teams that got humiliated. Got a few teams who 3 games into the season are probably wondering how they're going to salvage this season, and the answer is they're not. And we got teams surprising us. Did you have the Colts 3-0?
I was contemplating picking the Colts in our lock. They were my second choice, but couldn't quite pull the trigger.
Didn't trust them. Looked at the Titans and thought, they're not good. But is Indy really the real deal?
Yeah, and they laid it on them.
41-20. There were a few teams blown out. Atlanta, yikes, pulling Penix from the game as the Panthers of all teams smoke them 30-0. That was a huge mess. Falcons are 1-2 now. The Dallas Cowboys are 1-2. Got to think they went into Chicago thinking they could do it, and the Bears got them down early and never really let them back in the game. That was a thrashing.
Yeah, the Cowboys don't deserve any attention.
Last second wins you loved. The Niners squeaking past the Cardinals 16-15. The Browns, who had nothing going most of the day, get 13 points in the fourth quarter. And really, the last 4 minutes was full of big plays. They went 13-10.
Well, if you're going to go close games, I would go Chargers Broncos. I thought was the best.
Chargers tied it on their next to last possession and then won it right at the end, 23-20. The Bronco offense 3 and out 4 times in the last 5 possessions. Not really helping there.
Harbaugh's a winner. Herbert's a great player. I think they got something there.
The Bucs are a perfect 3-0. They had a big lead, blew it. Jets took the lead with a big fourth quarter, but the Bucs get the kick at the end and survive 29-27. Oddly, the Rams were trying the same thing in a 27-26 game to win by a bizarre score of 29-27, and you heard the block and the run back at the end as the Eagles win. A lot of games right down to it. How about the Commanders going to a backup quarterback, winning big? Thrashed the Raiders 41-24. Didn't have Jaden Daniels, no problem for them.
Yeah, Mariota's been in the league 10 years.
Yep.
I don't think the Raiders have anything.
And the Minnesota Vikings also going to backup quarterback, although they were playing the Bengals at a backup quarterback.
You told me that they weren't going to score.
48-10. I did not expect that at all. Carson Wentz, 14 of 20.
It's a good thing I didn't rush to Wendover and bet the under on the Vikings and then bet on Cal winning the ACC.
You're right about that, but we'll get to college football in a second. But you could have taken my lock of the week. Chiefs stroll to victory against the Giants.
You go with the heavy favorites.
Well, it's lock of the week.
Yeah, I know, but what about October, November?
Well, we'll worry about October and November when we get to October, November.
We're gonna get there.
Oh, I know. We're gonna hit bye weeks. There's gonna be fewer games to pick from.
With you wouldn't even go with. Why worry about finances? That's why I talk about Trajan Wealth 3 times a week, because October, and November, the winter of your life is going to come.
Okay. We got football tonight. The Lions and the Ravens, both off to 1-1 starts. That's a good game right there. Season-ending injuries, James Conner out, ankle injury. Arizona loses a running back. Chargers lose a running back, Najee Harris, Achilles tendon injury. He's out. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah.
Motion left to right is Aiken. He lead blocks for Dickey, who takes on the pile. Breaks free. He's at the 15, to the sideline, inside the 5. Touchdown, Red Raiders. That will do it. Hammond looked that way, pumps. Now he's going to throw to the left side. Wide open is Terrence Carter. Touchdown, Red Raiders. Oh, the double move on the pump was perfect. Hammond looked that way, pumps. Now he's going to throw to the left side. Wide open is Terrence Carter. Touchdown, Red Raiders. Oh, the double move on the pump was perfect.
A guy we didn't even talk about, PK, is the start of the game as Texas Tech beats Utah 34-10. Redshirt freshman quarterback Will Hammond comes off the bench, completes 13 of 16 passes for 169 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the Red Raiders blow the game open in the fourth quarter with 3 straight scores, 34-10. The Utes, so many turnovers, no running game. There was a list of problems. Even when they made a big play, penalty wiped it out.
Yeah, I thought the star of the game was Texas Tech's defense, and the non-star was the offense. I mean, Hammond played well. There's no question about it. But
Texas Tech won the line of scrimmage. The Utes didn't even run for 100 yards in the game.
Yeah, all my fears, every fear that I had for Utah was
coming true.
Yeah.
The throw game, especially down the field, not good. The one that was completed was a heave more than a throw. And they had another opportunity to make a big play, and he missed a wide-open Merriweather.
Their offense was abysmal. I don't think Texas Tech is all that. I mean, people going nuts on Texas. It reminds me when the Utes went down to Florida. Oh, Florida's really, really good. I mean, Texas Tech is okay. I mean, I picked them to get to the conference final, but I don't think that they were superb. I mean, 8 false starts. They should have really blown them out. I thought the first half was 2 teams running around just making all sorts of mistakes. But, I mean, we can get to that throughout the morning here.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag BYU.
59 seconds, no timeouts. The ball is spotted at the 1. Quick toss, pitch, end zone! Evan Johnson had one taken away, and another in this end zone. Pick 6. Bear will throw another open man. Carson Ryan strolling in for the touchdown. Ryan's second of the season. Bachmeier has taken the reins. They've also highlighted this man, L.J. Morton, his first rushing touchdown of the season. He had done everything else, needed that.
BYU 34-13 winners at East Carolina. The offense a little slow to get started, but they get the pick 6 to give them a 13-3 lead, and then in the second half they move the ball much better and put it in the end zone. They pull away and win comfortably. Good enough for you?
Oh, yeah.
Check a box and move on? 3-0, baby.
Grizzly Bear, and the guy stole my line, the announcer.
I heard that.
Bear
looking like a grizzly.
Well, I'm not on. And, yeah, he progressed. Clearly his best game. He's on target. Now it starts for real. That other stuff was playtime, and they passed the tests. So did Utah, and we saw what happened when they had their first real test. We'll see what happens here Saturday night over in Boulder. What will they be able to do? What will Bachmeier be able to do? I'm excited now. We've got done with the preliminaries, and then we've got 9 games in a row to see where they stand.
Cougars enter the AP poll at number 25 this week. Boulder, Colorado. Get ready. Saturday night, Big 12 opener. Late game, 8:15. DJ PK.
Hashtag Utah State.
Running the slant, caught by Boyd. Boyd breaks a tackle to the 40. He could be gone. Here we go. 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Brady Boyd. His first score in an Aggie uniform, and Utah State up by 2 touchdowns. 3:54 left in the first. Waits for the snap. Let's see if he quarterback sneaks it. Nope. Fakes the handoff. He's going to roll left, and he's got open field. 15, 10, jukes a man at the 5, and another rushing touchdown for Bryson Barnes. Holy smokes, Bryson Barnes is leaving dudes in his wake tonight as the Aggies get 40 on the board.
Bryson Barnes running the ball 13 times for 128 yards and a couple of scores. He ran it well. Miles Davis had a 100-yard game. McNeese was overmatched, and the Aggies blow them out early and win 48-7.
Good for the Aggies.
There it is. Next up, Vanderbilt to wrap up their non-conference schedule. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Dante Davison beside him now to the left. In the backfield, Gary Bryant Jr. motions all the way to the right. Snap back to throw. Straight drop. Time. Throws back in the end zone. Touchdown, McClellan. Jeremiah McClellan. Touchdown, Oregon.
Back to pass. Mateer after the quick snap. Takes a shot. Satania uncovered. Touchdown. Uncovered. Touchdown. Isaiah Satania.
Play action pass across the middle and caught. Touchdown. Arch Manning, quick snap, quick play fake, zipped it right across the middle to Ryan Wingo. His second touchdown catch of the night. Arch Manning's third touchdown pass of the ball game.
Looks to his left, fires a football. Touchdown! Elijah Surratt. An easy throw, and no question, Surratt was going to make the catch for the TD. And Indiana has put 6 more on the board. They got 48 on the scoreboard.
Indiana blowing out Illinois 63-10. 9th-ranked Illinois humiliated. Now they got USC coming up next.
So Indiana goes in there and just smothers them, right?
Yep.
Couldn't have been more impressive. Illinois still stays in the ranking. They lose by, 53 points?
By 53 points.
And Western Illinois, Western Michigan, and Western Duke were the teams that they beat.
Western Duke?
Yeah. And that's
Illinois drops from 9th to 23rd, but they stay ranked, down 14 spots.
The Devils lose to Mississippi State by 1 score late in the game, and they drop out. And then they beat Texas Tech, and they drop. Then they beat Baylor, and they drop even more.
Awesome.
What do they call them, points or votes?
They call them points. I mean, people vote, but then you get like 25 points if you're ranked number 1.
Each vote is worth a certain amount of points.
Not that I care about the Devils being ranked, but man,
it goes to the assumption is the Big 12 is the 4th best league, and they will not be treated the way other leagues are treated.
Yeah, but Western Illinois, Western Michigan, and Western Duke, and you still stay in? Yikes.
Well, they should drop out next week. USC should beat them, right?
Why?
Lose another game and stay in still?
No, why do you just go with the brand? Is that why?
Because Illinois just got smoked 63-10, and they beaten Western. I think they're completely overhyped.
And you think SC is that good?
Even mediocre SC ought to beat horrendous Illinois, don't you think?
You're just going on brand name. You're doing what you condemn others doing. You're just going on rep. And
so you think Illinois is going to win?
I have no freaking idea. I haven't thought about it till right now. Believe me, I did not spend one. I didn't even know they played USC this week. So, no. But you can't do what you're criticizing others are doing, just going by rep. Name me 2 players on USC's team. Name me 2 players. You can't.
And if I did, so what?
Right. So why would you just assume?
Name 2 players, then you would think I would know about the game.
No, I know you don't.
Okay.
I would have said name 3. But that you can't just do what you're criticizing the others of doing. You're just going on rep. That's not good enough. Go on the actual reality of what has happened this season.
Illinois couldn't score, and they couldn't get a stop.
That's not about. Obviously, that's not. It's about SC. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking
about Illinois. It has to be about USC.
If you're just going, well, SC's going to win. Why? Because they're SC. That's the reason that the Big 12 is in the position that they're in.
Or how about because Illinois is terrible? I mean, it doesn't mean SC's great. Illinois is terrible.
Fine, I understand that. But you can't go. You went SC. If they would have played Michigan State, what would you have done? You got 2 middling brands there, so you're not really sure. But because they got a bigger brand, come on, dude, admit it. You're doing that because you just went with the name. That's the problem that the Big 12 is perceiving. So I'm not.
Except they're ignoring results. Like you said, Arizona State wins and they drop.
Right.
And Arizona State loses on 1 pass play at the end of the game.
Right.
1 play. 63-10 is a different deal.
I can't argue. Yeah, but I'm not talking about Illinois now.
Well, I am.
Well, I'm not. You're picking SC because they're the bigger brand.
I'm picking Illinois because they just got smoked in a game they were supposed to be competing in.
I will bring in a shovel tomorrow.
Okay.
You are not doing that. You just went SC. They play SC next week. Oh, SC's going to win.
SC's been mediocre for years. Most of
I
Lincoln
know
Riley has been
that
mediocre.
proves my point. So why pick SC? Because they've been mediocre for years. Thank you.
Because they've been able to beat bad teams, and Illinois looks like a bad team.
Boy, I got it, man. But now you went SC. Now
It's not brands. It's literally the score of the last game.
Right. It's SC, and that. You would pick SC outside of virtually anyone in the Big 12, or the Big 10, except for Ohio State, Penn State, and I guess Oregon now, sure.
The reason there can be an upset in this is what I've talked about for years. College kids don't travel well. SC was terrible on the road last year. They lost at Minnesota. They lost at Maryland. They lost at either Michigan or Michigan State.
Give me history.
They're going on the road again. Well, they don't travel well. They haven't been traveling well. They lost 3 winnable games last year. And they botched them. They weren't great teams.
I have no idea. I don't remember what happened last year.
That's part of why. If you're going to be right, that's part of why SC's got to go on the road. They looked good last week, but they were at home against Michigan State. Yeah, Michigan State had to travel and play until 2 a.m. on their body clock. So maybe that's a little fraudulent result and overly encouraging for SC. But for Illinois, that was humiliating. Oklahoma beating Auburn 24-17, scored late. That game went back and forth. And Tulane, darling the G5, had a couple of nice wins, but they got routed by 13th ranked Ole Miss, 45-10. Miami up to number 2 after beating Florida. So they're inching towards the top of the poll. And Texas Tech is now 12 after beating the Utes. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Trout swings, and that one's going to go! He did it! He did it! Number 400 for Mike Trout! Another entry on the already complete Hall of Fame resume for one of the greatest players in the history of the sport.
And that's how you win 13-14.
Raleigh, right field! He's got 58!
And the
Mariners' main man delivers 2 more in a remarkable season within 2 of 60.
Cal Raleigh hits his 58th homer. The Mariners win again. They sweep the Astros. They got a 3-game lead with 6 to go. They got the tiebreaker. The magic number's down to 3. They're on fire. They're like 14-1 in their last 15 games. The Mariners crushing it. They beat Houston 7-3 there. Could you be more impressed with the Mariners? Or it feels like a little fool's gold to you? Peaking too early.
Best ever.
Cleveland keeps it rolling. They're 15-2 in their last 17, charging towards the postseason, trying to catch the Red Sox here right at the end. And the Houston Astros, they're tied with the Astros, game behind the Red Sox. 3 teams for the last 2 playoff berths in the AL, so we'll have that for the final week. The Blue Jays clinched by beating the Royals 8-5. Toronto is in. They haven't won the East title yet, but they've clinched at least a wild card. And over the National League wild card race, it's the Mets and the Reds in a dead heat with a week to go now, and Arizona's a game back.
I like what you did.
Who's got the easy? What?
That was impressive though, because you went hard on SC, but in case they lose, you threw in the travel, so you covered yourself.
Well, you say it's just brands.
That was impressive.
Well, you say it's just brands. It's not brands.
I don't believe you, but you can continue to say.
You can believe it. You don't know anything about the team, and then he tell you something about the team, and you're like, it's just history.
But that was impressive, though. You covered yourself in case SC loses. Well, they traveled last year, and you recited the history. You're a history major. You recited the schedules from last year. So if they lose, you got yourself covered. I told you. I got it. That was good work. I'm complimenting you.
No, you're not.
That was good work.
You are not.
That was good work. That was not only
You
good work.
said I don't know anything about the
great.
team. It's just the brand, and now you got this level of sarcasm too.
I can get up like 5 levels higher of sarcasm if you want. But that was great work.
The Bees wrap up the 2025 season with an 8-4 win over Las Vegas. They finish 20 games under 500, 64-84. DJ and PK.
Hashtag RSL.
Real Salt Lake. That 4-1 loss Wednesday night wasn't a fluke. They went to LA and lost 4-1. Game played out pretty much the same way. It was 2-1 competitive late, and they got beat on a couple counterattacks late. Another hat trick. Bwanga scores 3 times. RSL loses 4-1. They had their opportunities early when they were up a goal, and Piol put a really good opportunity, a header over the bar. And Diego Luna running around the penalty spot, nobody around him, but teammate doesn't see him. Cruz takes a shot instead of passing him the ball for an easy goal. If you let LA hang around, then who knows? Maybe they would have just ended up winning 4-3.
They beat them 8-2. Hang around.
Well, they were up a goal. They should have been up 2 or 3 goals early on.
And the queen,
right
if she had, would be king.
Yeah, I know. And I was just saying as you jumped in there, they might have lost 4-3 anyway. Bwanga and Son are at a whole nother level.
What was the deal with Luna's hair?
Oh, he's been dyeing it a different color every game now.
I know.
I don't know.
That was a bad choice.
Jay Nolly thought he added some orange to it or something.
That was...
It ended up...
I was watching Pink out there.
A little bit, yeah.
Somebody get to him.
DJ PK.
Hashtag NHL.
Lamoureux, center blue. Here's John Marino. Near side circle, Carcone, sharp angle shot, walled off, now they score! Utah notches a power play goal to open up the scoring in the preseason. It was Michael Carcone right in front after the centering pass came to him from the corner.
Nice play by Boot. He walks in and scores! And that is why he was taken 12th overall. Daniil Boot pulls the string and then labels one past Trent Miner to tie the game at 1 on the power play.
Utah Mammoth had their split squad games delayed due to travel issues. They lost the first game 5-1 and then the second game 3-2. They're back in action tonight. They're playing the Ducks at the Honda Center. Puck drop at 8 o'clock. Mike Foltz is on the call starting at 7:30 here on The Zone. That's a lot of hockey. 3 games in 2 days. Split squad, I guess, will help a little bit.
Yeah, I don't really care about preseason in any sport for that matter, but I'm just glad to hear Mike talking about it, knowing that it's right around the corner, and when it starts, I'll be there ready to go.
What is trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. DJ and PK, that is what is trending. Coming up next, the question of the day. Stay with us.
You've been listening to The Zone for decades. Yes! But now you can watch the guys break down your favorite teams.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Catch the video stream of DJ and PK, Jake and Ben, Hanson Scotty, and JJ and Alex right now at KSLSports.com or by searching KSL Sports on YouTube. Utah's best sports radio is on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join Jake and Ben Tuesday from 10 to noon. Belliston Jewelry, 1155 36th Street in Ogden. Belliston Jewelry, made just for you, cherished for generations. Question of the morning, Texas Tech crushing Utah. Who saw that coming? Tanner, everyone, but those with red goggles. Brandon, literally everyone. Who did Utah beat before Texas Tech? An 0-12 UCLA team? Cal Poly High School?
Western Cal Poly.
Mike, those false starts.
Oh, he's still bent. I got nothing on that.
Western Duke. Mike, those false starts crippled the Tech offense for most of the game.
We may lose them the rest of the morning on that one.
On the road, it would have gotten out of hand much earlier. We knew the offense was in trouble when three regular contributors were primarily defensive players. That is a little bit of a red flag.
Why?
Moving everybody over from defense to offense to make plays? Because you don't have enough guys on offense who can make plays?
It's not about the players who's there. It's about the players that they have enormous ability. That's what I'm focusing on.
Chris, it will take Utah a few years to get used to the size and speed of a Power 4 conference. That said, I did not expect them to start 0-5 in the Big 12 at home. I guess it'll take them longer to adjust to big-time football than some people expected.
No, that's stupid. I disagree on that.
That's a Cougar fan with a lot of sarcasm. Yeah. Enjoying their struggles.
Yeah. Well, then that's fine. I get that. I mean, that's what the rivalry's about. Sorry, Kevin Graham. But you root for your rival to lose. No, there's no such thing, the good of the conference, when it comes to your rival. No.
The good of the conference for everybody else, losses for them.
That's a non-fan who has no passion, either or team, to be able to say that. And he didn't grow up with a rival, so he doesn't understand that. No, you don't do that. So I would think that BYU fans would have been ecstatic by that result. I get that 100%. I mean, everything was set up. I got to give it to Utah fans, that big noon spiel. It really rocked. I do blame my wife, though.
For what?
That was the first Rice Eccles game she ever attended. So it is the JK curse. Now,
Mrs. K, come on.
She's been with me on the road many times, both Rose Bowls. I mean, has seen great Utah victories on the road.
So what's her curse then?
She attended the game, the home game. Don't do that ever again.
Can't take her to RES anymore.
So her powers, she can't impact the outcome on the road.
You
or
know how it
site.
is when young kids travel. How many times have I told you that?
She's not traveling.
Yes, she did. She travels on the road. That's exactly it. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. You're all over the map.
I know, I'm trying to bring you back. You get so defensive in the first hour. The second hour, you lighten up. The third hour, I don't know. I haven't figured out that. I've got to get more psychological analysis. Maybe in our 25th year. But yeah, she went and had a great time in the pregame. They really, really showed up well, like I knew they would.
I wasn't up before dark to see it, but I saw the clips on social media, and it was a massive crowd, tons of energy.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, the place was packed. Fox had to love it.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about him, but I know the rest of them did. I don't think he loved the outcome, knowing what I know of him. But it was a great opportunity there. And any fear that I had about the offense was materialized. And now recognizing my weaknesses, which are so few, despite what you say, the prisoner of the moment, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to struggle all year. And then if they would have won, oh, this team is awesome. It's going to the playoff. Book it. Make your reservations to the Arlington now. Get the cheapest rates. And I know I do that, but I'm thinking, yeesh, man, that offense just, they really bottled up Dampier. I think his longest run was 7 or 8 yards. You can go back and look at the stats. I looked at him Saturday, obviously, and then they pass him out to you. And I don't see much, I don't want to say reason for hope, but when they play some really good teams, and maybe there are not enough really good teams out there, and maybe Texas Tech is just that much better. I do think Texas Tech is going to, as long as this conference stays together, which who knows what's going to happen, I think the money that they have is going to allow them to be really good. We are looking at Oregon Part 2. I mean, that I've believed it, and talking to some people at the stadium, and their fans now are getting into it, and yeah, I think of all places, I mean, you could say Eugene. Why would Eugene be a premier garden spot? Well, because they had all that other stuff going on, and I've never been to Lubbock, but I've been in Eugene 100 times. So it's the same type of thing.
Having a wealthy booster to get it started is certainly a major plus. But the fact that, people say Texas Tech, and we haven't been there, but our former producer Terry told us, out there in the middle of nowhere. But it's the big game in town. They're not right in the shadow of the NFL. I mean, granted, the Cowboys are huge all over the state, but not right in the shadow. Eugene's not right in the shadow. So I think their fans getting on board, that's more people who can give more money and keep it going.
I don't know. It's the only money in town. I mean, it could have been in the heart of Dallas. If you're going to have that kind of money, kids are going to be attracted to it, as they should. There's people who tell you, oh, money isn't everything. Sure, it's not, but it's right there, the next to the top of the list. And especially with a lot of young people whose families don't have money, and now all of a sudden you're coming into some big money and you're going to tell them to turn that down? No. Absolutely not. Nor should they. It doesn't solve every problem, but it can make a lot of problems a lot easier with that. And we know the stress of lack of finances causes. That's a fact. I've been there. I was there in high school. My father was a janitor and got laid off. I know what it's about. And I think Texas Tech has the opportunity to really assert itself as the number one team in this conference over the next 5 to 10 years. I don't know that the conference, as it's presently constituted, will be together in 5 and 10 years. If I had to guess, I would say no. But nevertheless, Utah, Dampier just did not show well. And if you can bottle up their run and bottle up him scrambling, he's just not good enough as a thrower.
They didn't respect him down the field, and that enables them to crowd everything. It makes it harder for him to run it, makes it harder for the other guys to run it, makes it hard for the receivers to get open. They need to stretch the field a little bit, but it was clear they couldn't. And that's just going to make everything else more difficult. And that's going to be the game plan until they prove they can beat it.
Yeah. And I still think they have an opportunity to be in the mix.
Well, if you were right in your analysis last week of who the top teams in the league are, they don't play TCU and Iowa State.
And that's a huge bonus.
Right. Now, some of the other teams, we don't necessarily know how good they are, but the last year, it's not like 4 teams just pulled away. 4 teams tied for it, but there was another group of teams right there, a game or two off the pace. And so whether that's ASU, BYU, Baylor, now a lot of those teams are on their schedule. So there'll be plenty of good teams out there. Maybe not anybody as loaded as Texas Tech.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can argue this week coming up is the weakest opponent that they'll play. And nothing is a must-win until it literally means you're out of the race if you don't win this particular game.
Yeah, but 0-2 would be a problem.
Yeah, it certainly would. And so from that perspective, you can argue that it's a must-win in the grand scheme of things, because then expecting you to go 7-0 after you started 0-2 is highly unlikely. I've seen all 4 games that Dampier has played, and then I saw him play 5 times last year, and this is clearly the worst. And it has me worried, has me concerned. I'd be lying if I didn't say I have a great level of concern now on his ability, their ability to move the ball consistently against a quality team. I don't see how you can argue otherwise. It's like when Kyle said after they got whooped by Colorado, Colorado's the best team in the league now, or the best team they've faced. I know BYU fans got upset by that, but look at his evidence. And you can only go by the evidence. And to date, the evidence was they played 3 lightweights, and then they played a decent team, a good team, and they got destroyed. And that sucks to say, but I don't know how else to say it.
So is anybody else going to come in with the NFL talent along the defensive line that they have, which is why all the scouts were there in the press box with you?
They were there, yeah.
Is anybody going to else have that? Will the O-line be able to move, even though they're going to be facing, the coaches love to say, +1 in the box. They're always going to make sure they have one more defender there. But are they going to be able to handle it when the other D-lines aren't as good? I mean, not everybody's going to come through with multiple NFL guys on the defensive line.
Well, probably, but, you were talking about relative to the hopes that they had. So going 5-4 in the conference isn't good enough based on expectations at this time last week. Yes. Do I think they'll have a winning record in conference? Most likely, yes. But that's not. We're not talking about surviving and winning a few ball games.
Doing 7-2 or 8-1 and getting the conference title game. That appears very difficult right now.
Right. That's the issue at hand. Yes, I think that if you're looking to have a winning record and go to a bowl game, I mean, I'd be stunned if all they have to do is go 3-6 the rest of the way to get there. That would surprise me very much if they didn't do that. I don't think that's changed. So, yes, there's going to be good times ahead, but we're looking to have the best of times in this conference, and that's what the expectation was. And that's what, there's 3 things I can count on with Joel Klatt and blah, 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 and they got so much freaking love. Not completely, but I'm a little surprised they dropped out because they do get so much love. It's just, can they compete with the better teams in the conference? That remains to be seen. I don't think that teams that you just mentioned that they play, I don't think they're going to lose all of them. That would be a stunner. They're not that bad. The offense isn't that bad. They didn't have it going on this particular day, obviously. And if you force Dampier to beat you with his arm, there's no track record of him being able to do that. And the receivers, I mean, I saw some, what was it, Theo Howard running his mouth on Twitter. He played there. We can pump up these receivers every year we do it. And, I mean, then they get open, and Merriweather has no shot to catch the ball. It was a critical play. He missed him by 5 feet.
Wasn't even close.
Yeah.
And if it hits him in stride, he's down the field for either a big gain or a touchdown.
And they hit him, they get the big play to the other kid, Davis, but Fano, they said there was some type of audible or something, and I went back and watched the replay. He was a good 7-8 yards downfield.
Joel Klatt nailed it. He's like, this is not an RPO. He is 8 yards downfield. Yeah. You can't do that.
Right. But he clearly didn't know the play. Something happened.
Correct.
Kyle said that. I mean, he's not just going to go. He knows well enough not to get down there. And that was the big play, the call back on the touchdown. And you're going like, I told you when I went to the bathroom in the Rose Bowl, the UCLA announcer, the color guy that we've had on, man, that pass, they connect that pass. This is a different game. Not really, but that's what teams think or, fans think when you're looking at it through your whatever colored glasses and think, well, maybe if they had those 2 plays, it's like what Pablo talks about in soccer. You're going to get opportunities. You're just not going to get a lot of them. And when you get them, you better cash in. If you don't, then it's going to make it that much more difficult. And that's what they have. They had a couple opportunities there that didn't get cashed in, one with the penalty and one with the missed pass. And, could it have made a difference? Probably not, but at least maybe today you'd have more hope.
Could have stayed in the game a little bit. Do you think the quarterback injury was a major break for Texas Tech? Because Morton didn't appear sharp. To your point about the first half, he had 2 guys open deep and he underthrew them and got picked twice. we all play woulda, coulda, shoulda. So I'm fine with playing, okay, let's take a moment and play woulda, coulda, shoulda on the Utes. But a couple woulda, coulda, shouldas on Texas Tech, they're thinking, well, we should have hit on these 2 plays. One literally would have been a touchdown. The other, the ball would have been out at, roughly midfield. It would have been a big gain. But when Hammond came in, he had guys on the money, and they went right down the field 3 times.
He looked great. There's no doubt about it. What I saw a little bit was reminiscent of last year of the defense, and a lot of those guys are the same guys that were there last year, thinking, "Oh my gosh, here we go again."
They got a combination of gassed and frustrated.
Yeah.
We're not coming back from this.
Hard for me to blame them.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
Hey, bro. You hear us every day with our crazy opinions.
Hey, what you doing?
Well, now it's time to hear from you.
Hey, great show.
Download the KSL Sports app and fire off your thoughts with the call-in tab on the bottom of your screen.
Your show is fantastic. It's the one that captivates me the most.
You can tell PK to stop singing.
G-Bangs! G-Bangs!
Let Jake and Ben know what you really think of the Jazz. Woo! Tell Hans and Scotty about your favorite barbecue spot or what color of tie JJ should be wearing on TV. The best entries will be played on the air. Download the KSL Sports app now and hit the call-in button to let your voice be heard.
I think you guys do an incredible job.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The band of the day is Take It Back Sunday. Lead singer Adam Lazzara celebrates his 43rd birthday. It's brought to you by Live Nation for all the live concerts events in 2025. Check out livenation.com.
Yeah, do it. I love when Kyle gets up there, man. He pulls no punches. Boom, 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 boom.
If you'd have told me, we'd have never run the ball.
Yeah. Take away those garbage yards. Yeah. And what you said about Texas Tech not playing, would you say they don't play TCU and Iowa State? Is that what you said?
I was talking about Utah not playing TCU and Iowa State.
Oh, okay, yeah. Good. And then BYU gets both of them and Texas Tech?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Welcome to 16-team leagues. I don't know about Texas Tech. Maybe Texas Tech doesn't get them either. But I know Texas Tech does not get Iowa State.
Yeah.
And they don't get TCU. Yeah.
And they get Oklahoma State. Oh, my gosh.
They do.
I can't believe how far that program has fallen. It's just stunning. It's just a shocker. It's the number one shocker in the Big 12 in the year plus that both of our teams have been in it.
Can't do anything right.
Stunning.
That Tulsa loss Friday night. Yikes.
First time there since 1951. I mean, we're just going back to numbers that just seem impossible to comprehend. Wow.
When did they stop wearing leather helmets? I don't know when that happened, but
yeah,
we're getting back to that.
Right.
It's almost 75 years ago.
Yeah.
Lifetime.
Yeah, just absolutely stunning.
You buying any of these other teams in the Big 12 with another week of evidence?
Yes, Kansas. Yes, Kansas, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, you know how
because you were talking about the Utes game against West Virginia, that could be the worst team on their schedule.
Yes.
Which it could be. You didn't go all right. You didn't go the definitive.
Yeah.
But it could be. And then Kansas' other wins, Fresno State and Wagner. They were in a pretty good game with Missouri. I mean, they had a big early lead. They blew it. They came back. They took the lead, and then Missouri got a couple late scores and won.
No, I bought them last year, and they were 5-7. So I'm going to buy them this year for sure. Yeah, I think they're a dangerous team, man.
Yep.
I think particularly any given game. You're talking about kids.
Well, that's one where BYU doesn't have to play them.
No, good for them.
Skip that one.
I mean, you never know. But as I sit here today, I had them as next out. I had them as my 5th place team last week when I did that 4-4-4. Yeah. But, if Bachmeier continues to play, well, I assume we'll talk about BYU in the next segment here, that could move up. But, yeah, I think there's several dangerous teams. And Houston is still an unknown. Just how good are you?
I was going to say last year it was Arizona State, it was BYU, it was Colorado. No expectations for any of them. All picked in the bottom third, some at the very bottom. And they're all ending up 7-2 tied for the league. So who are the teams this year? Arizona, no expectations for them. 3-0. UCF, no expectations for them. 3-0. They blew out North Carolina. And Houston, also 3-0. And none of those teams, really any preseason hype around them. And maybe the 3-0 will just turn out to be fool's gold. But if there's going to be teams in a league full of parity flying up from the bottom of whatever the preseason predictions were, whoever made them after the league didn't do it at the media days, but there was still lots of stuff out there. There wasn't hype for any of those teams. They're all poised, and we'll see if they can pull it off.
Well, I said all along that Arizona on any given week can surprise you. They're able. And you look at these teams that had bad breaks. I was listening to Dillingham yesterday after Saturday night because it was a late game. And so I listened to what he said yesterday, and he said, we won every close game last year.
And they did it again.
And
now they've split 2 close games this year because obviously the non-conference game was close when they lost at Mississippi State.
Right. And when they win the turnover battle, since he's been there, they're 12-0. So things have to go your way. And you look at Kansas, things went against them last year. Well, I picked the Devils in the, I think, 4th or 5th in a preseason poll that I did, thinking that, they're not going to get all those breaks that they got. I get it. Well, it flies the other way, too. If you had a bunch of bad breaks, you're not going to continue to have a bunch of bad breaks. And so that's why I consider Kansas to be a potential threat. I don't think there's any question in my mind that they're going to be a dangerous team. And right now, I think you got to give Iowa State and Texas Tech their due, and then TCU. TCU very, very dangerous.
TCU making a bunch of big plays to beat SMU. They were just a bunch of 40-yard plays in that game. And it's TCU ASU Big Fox Friday night. So
you've got Sonny Dykes is an outstanding offensive coach, outstanding, and so is Rich Rod. But Rich Rod he's only there a few days. Sonny's been there for a few years, and I believe in his ability to coach offense. And if they can get defense, then they're going to be really tough.
All right, a lot of people reacting to the Cougars win at East Carolina. We'll get to that next. Stay with us. Don't miss your chance to win big every week on The Zone. This week on Win Ticket Wednesday, win tickets to Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace, live at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater on September 27th. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. Listen to The Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win. All right, Cougar fans, 3-0. BYU has little trouble with East Carolina and goes 3-0 in the non-conference. What's your evaluation of the team going into Big 12 play? People a little defensive, PK.
Why?
I don't know, the rivalry, high hopes, expectations, knowing people are going to bark at him. Thomas, a little trouble, minuscule. To which Joseph said, would you reread that? He didn't say a little trouble. He said little trouble. It's an entirely different statement than a little trouble.
That's true. I agree with that.
Missing one letter, one word.
Well, yeah. I mean, comma
changes it.
Can change everything. So, yeah, they had little trouble. I thought they had little trouble. I thought they were in basically command. I never felt they were going to lose. Never felt it was dangerous. Didn't go down to the end. Yeah, they had little trouble. What's wrong with that?
There wasn't anything, if you read it, as opposed to a little trouble. The offense unable to put the ball in the end zone in the first half, you can go to that for sure. But after that, settle down in the second half, move the ball, all was well at the end. And a big play on defense gave him a little breathing room. Maybe that was part of it. Halftime adjustments, settling down, whatever.
I think it's just a development and progression of Grizzly Bear. And he's right on schedule.
Don is with you. Getting better every week. Easing into Big 12 play has been great.
Feeling stronger every day.
Much better than the front-loaded schedule of Independence.
Everything is better than Independence.
Right. That would have been a big ask.
It had run its course. Yeah, I don't think they would have played him if that was the case. But they were going to play him this year. And so now that doesn't mean he's going to take the conference by storm. But you just look at him. I'm not a football savant here by any stretch. I talked to the guys. Talk to some, just leave it at that afterward, and they're happy with the progression. They know they made the right decision, and there's no wavering. They feel good about everything that he has been able to do to this point, understanding that it is to the point of a little bit of scratching the surface type thing, and there's going to be times when the pressure is ramped up and the game is on the line. It's the same thing with Dampier. In game 1 of the real test, he couldn't do it. We'll see what happens. He's got 8 more, probably 9, but he's got 8 more to go. We'll see what he can do. Bachmeier, he's gotten better. There's progression each week. He's not turning the ball over. He's not flipping with the passes. And that's the thing about it, it's about making good decisions when the moment presents itself. And so far, so good. LJ Martin, they told us about this, that the guy's in the best shape of his life. His third year in the program. It's set up for him to have a big season. You have to really listen when they talk. Sometimes people say stuff and it can be more just
noise.
Hopeful
noise.
Rather than this is the way it's going to be. And I think with Aaron Roderick, if you listen to him, he'll tell you some things that he really feels strongly about. And, we and I have certainly had the benefit of being around the man for many years, and you get a feel for what they're about and what they say and what they believe and what they're not trying to send a message to the team through the media. Sometimes they do, but you got to know when they feel strongly about what they've got. One year that I can remember talking to Lance Reynolds about the offense in the coach, not the player, and he said, "Oh, we're going to be fine. We've got this player. I think it was Harvey Young coming in. He's going to be really good. Blah 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 blah." And these guys have got a lot of experience. There's no need for them to build up something like who was it? The last week, the Virginia Tech coach. Well, yeah, I know because I can see behind the scenes that they're getting better. Well, you're just trying to sell us something that isn't there, right? These guys, they're not trying to sell us something. And so he said that they were going to be good at running the ball, and they are. And Martin is looking really good. He looks like an NFL back. Knock on wood, throw salt over your shoulder, whatever, that he stays healthy, because if that's the case, they should be able to do that. And Bachmeier continues to get better. So for them, things are looking up. They should, right now, if you're a BYU fan, you should expect your team to be competing for the place, one of the two places in Arlington right now. And maybe that'll change in the coming weeks. But right now, no, that's a realistic expectation.
A lot of Cougar fans weighing in on this one. BYU, little trouble. Reed, though, too early to tell. Defense is solid, got more work to do. Have to see what happens in Boulder. Reed's not buying yet.
Well, I think you have to see what happens in Boulder. You have to see what happens in Provo. And
the West Virginia game?
Just check off all the games.
Oh, okay.
I
thought you were going order down the schedule. No. More evidence game 4, more evidence game 5.
Yeah. Right. You're right. You're going to continue to build your case as you win. And I don't expect them to go 9-0. Somebody will eventually, but I don't think I ever predict it. And it'll happen probably. But I don't see it happen with the Cougars. But continue to build. Because even in the losses, you can come out of it with positives, if you lose a game, not everything is negative. A lot of it for Utah is you have to see the complexion of the game. That was a huge letdown for the Utes, no doubt about it. And for the Cougars going forward, what can they do and what can they build? And one of the things that I think is really important to notice is that the defensive backfield, they bring guys in. A kid like Johnson's been in the program. How many years now, Yak? Is this his third?
This is his fourth at BYU.
Fourth year. You remember one time, you remember this story.
Do you know where he went to high school, by the way?
Tell me.
On the Monterey Peninsula.
Yeah, I did.
Grew up in the shadow of Pebble Beach.
Yeah, that's a fine place. Young David Stockton for Gonzaga. He's lighting it up. And I get with Donnie Daniels when he was a coach over there. And I said, man, Stockton, how do you explain how well he's doing? It's his 5th year in the program. He looks at me, you idiot. And I didn't say that.
but the tone.
And I've known him forever, so we can have that conversation. He says, come on, this guy's been around forever, man. It's 5th year, and he was a big-time contributor his 5th year. These DBs, they've been in the program for a number of years. They don't have to go the junior college route where they're barely there, and they can get in Jay Hill's system. Jay Hill can recruit the guys he's looking for. Gennaro Guilford can coach him up, blah, 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 and Jay Hill coaching up the safeties, and you're having this production. And you listen to what Evan Johnson said. He said they told him, okay, this is what you're going to be doing. Look for this and this. He sees the 3-step drop, the proverbial jump the route, and it was a piece of cake. And boom. And I don't think they needed that play to change the game, but it certainly did. that changed everything.
Took a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah.
Got a 10-point lead. You're going to feel a lot better about yourself.
Right. What a horrible call that was.
Oops.
I mean, what were you going to get with even if that pass is complete?
Where are you going?
With no timeouts, right? They had no timeouts. What are you hoping to accomplish here? Are you going to go down the field and get in the end zone in that situation? No timeouts, the clock dwindling? Probably not.
Best case scenario, you're going to pick up 4 or 5 yards and step out of bounds.
Right. Whoop-de-doo.
That's the big that's the big upside.
There was the risk reward was just it was so skewed in the opposite direction of risk, but yet Johnson did it, and then he gets the pick in the end zone there. He played well. I assume he'd be in the running for Defensive Player of the Week. So when you got those kids, and they've been in the program, and they understand what you're doing, the concepts that you're trying to accomplish, yeah, away you go. And Jack Kelly continues to look like an animal. The animal, Jack Kelly.
You've given a new nickname.
The animal.
I could tell you loved that as soon as you said it. You were very satisfied.
I got in trouble for my nickname for him, so
what?
It's okay. I called him Sack Kelly, and Lloyd said no.
Oh, what's wrong? But it's fine with me, but it rhymes with Jack, obviously.
I got shouted down on social media for that one.
Oh, well, he's an animal, man. The guy can move, he can cover, he can hit, he's smart, been playing football a long time. He's really good. Yeah.
Jason says, still a lot to prove. Defense and special teams. The kicking is elite. Return game has improved as long as Kingston isn't returning. The offense has improved, but it's going to get a lot tougher over the next month and a half. Why still 1 or 2 season-ending injuries away from a catastrophic season? They need better depth on offense. Yeah, I can see that.
I'd have to see who's injured, and hopefully no one is. And they've already lost one, and lost JoJo, obviously. That's a blow, I think.
Leaning a lot on Chase Roberts and a lot on Carson Ryan.
Yeah, but you got some other guys there. Cody Hagan, he's just sort of making his mark right now. Let's see what he can do. He was a big star in high school.
Is there anybody behind LJ that you trust? I was going to say, is there anybody behind LJ? Obviously, there is. One running back.
Moa, but I don't trust him to the level of LJ Martin, which is why LJ Martin is the player. So, yeah. And that's that. You got to cultivate depth. But right now, he is far and away the best player. But the other guys, a kid like Moa, he hasn't been featured. So do I really know what he can do? If he was getting the ball 20 times or so, whatever it might be, what can he do? I hope I don't find out this year. Because if Martin is healthy, it's not his time. It's his time to supplement and to come in relief. It's Martin's time. It's Martin's time right now, this very season, this very game.
Our defense is stellar, Brandon says. Kalani said Jay was mad that ECU scored a touchdown. I definitely saw progress in Bear and think as he gets experience, he'll be awesome. Jay was mad that ECU scored a touchdown. 12-play, 97-yard drives have a way of irritating defensive coordinators.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been cool if they didn't score a touchdown into the fourth game, and then you're going into the fifth game. But that's really neither here nor there in terms of the success of the season. That's a nice little thing that you got going on there statistically. Bronco, he once told me, he said, yeah, man, I was so excited at statistics when I was defensive coordinator, and then I became head coach. And I don't care about that stuff. I care about winning the game. And that's all that matters.
Coordinators get fired on statistics, and head coaches get fired on wins. Yeah. So if you're wondering what the motivation there is.
And he flipped his whole idea and ideology. It's about winning the game, and they won the game. But, yeah, as far as being tested, abso-stinking-lutely, man. Especially, you can argue Colorado, West Virginia, and Arizona. That's as easy as it gets. And then Utah on the 18th of October, I think it is. And I know their schedule. I believe it's just Saturdays the rest of the way, where it is Iowa State, Texas Tech, and TCU. So you got Utah, Iowa State, Texas Tech, and TCU. Yeah, that's pretty good competition. 4 games in a row. Yeah, I mean that's. So the tests that you're looking for, they will be there.
Coming games 7 through 10.
Yeah, and I can argue Saturday night, Colorado is going to be tough. I think to your earlier idea, You talk about travel and the 2 time zones. I think any travel, throw out BYU Utah, right? It's a bus ride. But any other travel, if you win, celebrate.
Because you're not going to win that many road games.
Yes, and if you get one, consider it. It only equals 1, but it is huge, and that's Texas Tech. They were celebrating wildly. You could hear them. The radio booth is right next. They're going ape. I mean, they're just so, and they should. It's a road win in an environment like that. Are they going to face another environment on the road the rest of the season? I could argue no. With the Big Fox there, and I left my house at 7:45, right? It's 13 miles from my house to the stadium. And I'm up on I-215 heading north, right, on the east side. And I tell my wife, first time she's ever gone with me to Rice Eccles.
You're going to go 215 foothill to the stadium. Okay.
Yeah. Look way up on the hill, see your house. I said, if you get the binoculars, you can see where DJ lives. And so, she did and couldn't quite see it. I said, when we're on the freeway, I said, we're going to face traffic here. This isn't going to be as smooth. I was dead wrong.
You sailed right in?
Yes.
Everybody was already there?
It was awesome.
You had the LSU experience in Utah?
Yes. And some other experiences that I've had in other places, Madison, Wisconsin, on and on. Yeah. All the places where you think you'd have it. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It was really, really cool. You fans showed out big time. And Texas Tech had to go in that environment, and then they're all fired up for the game, and then they own the game. Celebrate wildly, my friends.
Their road games are Houston, ASU, K-State, and West Virginia.
Who's?
Texas Tech, when you say they don't have another test like that.
Well, all things considered.
Yeah, well, I'm agreeing. I mean, there's the list. They don't.
Urban Meyer.
I would say that.
Utah's going to win. Kyle's going to get another ring.
At ASU and at K-State, those,
they'll be fine.
Houston doesn't tend to draw.
Yeah.
So the atmosphere won't be as crazy. Maybe they got a really good team. Maybe they're breaking out and we don't know it. We'll see.
But if BYU goes on the road and knocks off Colorado, celebrate.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Bronco Mendenhall, Utah State coach, joins us next. Stay with us.
It's game week for the Cougars, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. It's the Big 12 opener for BYU as they hit the road for a rematch with Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Cougar football. Then catch college football Saturday game day at 10 a.m. with the postgame show immediately following the game on KSLSports.com. Your home for the best coverage of BYU football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. You can submit your nomination at KSLSports.com/contest. Listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week. Sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals.
DJ and PK, tons of college football this morning. We got a little pro football. We'll get to our locks of the week coming up. That'll be in the next segment. Bronco Mendenhall going to join us here momentarily. The Aggies winning their money game comfortably, as we expected, blowing out McNeese. Now a trip to Vanderbilt. Look at Vanderbilt go.
Good for them.
Undefeated.
Yeah. Obviously known as a baseball school. Very, very good at that sport. And if they can keep some success in football, that'd be great. And the Aggies got an opportunity. They showed fairly well against Texas Tech, or Texas A&M, I should say. So this is sort of the same thing. Same exact start time, 10:45.
10:45, SEC Network.
Yeah.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Saturday again. I was telling my wife, I got Saturday, I got the Aggies, I got the Utes, and then I got the Cougars at night. You got it all figured out. Yes, I do.
We're joined now by Bronco Mendenhall, head coach of the Utah State Aggies. Bronco, good morning.
Good morning.
Bronco, there are a lot of things that went right in that game. I wonder how comfortable you were in a game like that, having your quarterback be your leading rusher. He was effective, but you don't want to get that guy hit.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag for sure, as he sets the identity for our team, not only in production but mindset. And our offense and our team basically goes through him. And so, yeah, it's a delicate balance for sure when you think about durability, sustainability, but you also think about, program development, culture building, and success and outcome. So, yeah, a lot of intuition built into it, and a lot of just kind of, control as you go, and based on what you see and what he looks like and how much can he handle.
I recall when you were at BYU, you said that, you needed a year or two to build the program up depth-wise. A game like this that you had on Saturday night gives you an opportunity to see some of that depth in action. What is your level of assessment of your team's depth?
We're thin, but that comes with transition. Even though the transfer portal can provide immediate access, and I think I would also say a game like that only happens when you play really well, execute at a high level, and then meet expectations and get a lead, so then you can create an opportunity for the depth. So we had some players that were able to get some repetitions that maybe they wouldn't have gotten, but the execution and the way that the team played allowed that to happen, but not as much in terms of depth development as we would have hoped, and we're not in that position yet as a program.
Trying to figure out who your guys are. There's so many new guys. One of the guys who had a big game for you on defense, William Holmes, was actually there last year, but he didn't play a lot for the Aggies last season. A couple of sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 7 tackles overall. He's from Michigan. What can you tell us about him? Who is William Holmes?
Yeah, a really interesting story. Professional baseball player. Doesn't know the game of football. And so it's right in our wheelhouse and right in my preferred wheelhouse of players that have potential, not much experience, but enough ability. And so it's been really fun to work with Will to this point and help him learn the game of football, to learn the position, to be able to maximize his skills. And really, again, our program specializes in the development of really raw talent with good mindset and good ability. And Will fits into that category just in a very unique story.
One of the things you said last week caught my ear, and I'm going to bring it up this week. I knew I would save it because I expected that you would be able to have the level of success you had against McNeese rather than focus specifically on that game. And you said that it's obviously you had done some research and some study, something along the lines, correct me if I'm wrong, but positive and negative of coaching, the 6 positive reinforcements to a negative.
Yes.
And it made me think, and you've gone through the years being able to do this and know what it's about and how to reach and touch young people, so to speak. From that perspective, as a head coach, how much of your job is not just the X's and O's, but figuring out how to reach, in this case, young people? You also have people that are older and assistants and staff members and all that stuff. And so I'm just wondering, how much has the job evolved in terms of being able to understand everything rather than how to block and tackle?
Yeah, it's a great question. And really my role as a head coach is predominantly what you just described. At one point, I was coach of the nose tackles. I was the defensive coordinator, helping with special teams and being the head coach. Those days are gone, at least for me. And the majority of time I'm spending, right, is on the connection part, the communication part, the development of each individual staff and player, as you mentioned, through positive leadership, psychology, messaging, and the development of confidence and kind of the human spirit, I would say. And we address it every single day. It's truly my passion. I do it through football, but the development of young people is something that it's why I'm back in coaching. And everything I share with our team is research-oriented, backed up by the best and brightest people in the studies they've done. And a pretty simple message for our listeners, which is not specific to coaching. The relationships that are healthiest, interpersonal relationships I'm talking about, the correlation of positive to negative in terms of comments and content from one person to another, these are the healthiest relationships, are 6 positives to every negative. Interesting, once it gets to even about 50-50, many of those relationships fail. once it's under 50-50, most, if not all, fail in terms of divorce or some kind of toxic level or just relationships that don't hold. And so when we're coaching, and by the way, that's self-talk as well, a minimum of 3-to-1 just by how you talk to yourself. And so we're really intentional about developing each individual, but also helping them develop themselves. And easy as a coach and easy for fans to see only what's negative, only what needs to be corrected. And yet what we know is to go from good to great, you actually focus on what you're already good at and make that great. And you just raise your flaws to kind of just industry standard to where they're just not so awful you can't function. But you don't spend your time on those things. You just get those to where they're functionable. Most of your time is already targeting what you're good at and making that great.
I'm curious how much you've changed over time, and if you reflect back to the people who coached you, because we're, ballpark the same age. And when I was in high school, I had two experiences. One, I got yelled at, and two, I got shunned. That was most of the coaching right there. And there was a level of tough guy, hold people accountable. This is how you do it. Break them down and build them back up. I specifically remember that when I was first getting into TV, hearing coaches say that. Did you ever buy into that? Did you evolve over time?
Mm-hmm. So there's a really delicate balance. But so what I'm not saying when I'm just expressing all those things regarding ratios and positive comments, that also does not mean that the highest of expectations still don't drive behavior and help people aspire. And so the delicate balance in our program is very, very demanding. And accountability is one of our specialties in terms of correcting immediately what needs to be fixed, and at a really high and sometimes harsh level in terms of the accountability. Having said that, how that's done, that can be demeaning, that can be belittling, or that can actually be challenging, inspiring, and promoting. And so the expectations really and how high they are and how we call them extreme are one of the greatest gifts we can give our team and the young people, because really it's a way of saying that we know you're capable of more than you've ever done before, and we want to help you do that. But we also expect you to try really hard to reach that.
And has that changed at all over your 20-plus years that you've been as a head coach in terms of reaching these kids?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just, even though there was success record-wise throughout most of my career and even early, that doesn't mean I know what I was doing. There just is, I've learned so much as I've just experienced life and raised children and just been seasoned through the ups and downs and in-betweens of what, happens on the course of any given day. And so I think my perspective has grown. I'm not perfect by any means, but the knowledge, the wisdom, and the consistency of application with really high expectations, that part's remained the same. Maybe just how I go about it is a little bit different.
As a new athletic director at Utah State, how involved were you? How much do you know about Cameron Walker?
Yeah, so there was an extensive process that went on with a search firm, committee here at Utah State, interim president, a panel of coaches that were involved. And really my involvement came right at the end. And I was able to basically sneak away and without really anyone knowing and have a chance in terms of the finalists, that means the true finalists, right at the end to have a chance to address each in person and then provide my feedback. And I feel really good about Cam, man, the background, the experiences, the breadth and depth and strategy, a legal mind with so many bright spots in terms of strategy and development as well. There's, I think Utah State is in for a real treat with this leader, and I think he's really suited for this landscape at this time with a skill set and a life that's kind of been preparing him for it. So I think we chose really well.
One of the things that I've harped on is that there's certain places that they need to have some local knowledge. You just can't bring in an outsider and expect that man or woman to succeed because they don't really know the lay of the land, so to speak. And, we've seen it now with all the coaches, the three highest ones have all grown up here. They got reputations and heritage in the state. And I'm wondering if you think it's the same thing with the athletic director, because we do know he was born in Idaho and raised, and we do know he coached at worked at UVU, so he ought to have some level of knowledge of what's going on in the state of Utah.
Yeah, really, really good point. His wife is actually from Heber City as well. And so former baseball player at Rick's College. And, yeah, a sense of knowledge of the area for sure. To your point, I think it's actually right on. And I've been involved in so many of the search firms and the Zoom calls with committees and hiring processes and et cetera. And to be honest, most just miss and get it wrong. And interesting, it self-perpetuates the business of search firms, right? Because then just someone else gets the next search when it's missed. And I think there's one primary reason, and I'm not saying it's all bad in terms of the process, but I think rarely is the accuracy level what anyone hopes it would be. And I think the primary reason, and in my conversations with the candidates, the primary reason is lack of transparency about what's currently going on at the place. What are the challenges? What are the specific issues that can create, right, obstacles or blocks, or what's existing personnel that really is either in the way or highlighting what's happening at the place? You know, what does the constituency look like? What's the community look like? What's the level of engagement with alumni? Just all of those things. And so really I spent most of my time with the candidates not really asking questions, but telling them exactly from my perception of arriving in December what it is. And then watching their body language, listening to their comments as to, do they want to take that on? What would they do? How would they do it? And giving them a landscape to see if they're truly the right fit, not for any place, but for this place, which is your point. And I think Utah State needs a very specific type of leader, as do most places.
What kind of specific leader? I think most people are listening thinking Utah State probably needs another, I don't know, $10 or $20 million because the price of poker is going up, and going to a new league is going to emphasize that. The schools that have less money largely, not completely, but largely aren't making the move. So the price of poker is going up partly just because of inflation every year and partly because of the new league.
Yeah, development's certainly part of it, and Cam has a really strong background in development. So to your point, that had to be acknowledged, who is capable of, right, the revenue generation and the development. But I would also say, and I think this was the message earlier of local understanding, I mean, Cache Valley is an amazing place, and there's a specific type of brand of football here in sports, and the people love, right, blue collar, and they love hard work, and they love grit, and they love resiliency, and they love a type of young person and a type of team play that resonates. And they also want to have a chance to connect with that leader, meaning there's a level of understanding of the place, of the culture, of the people, of the heritage, of the history, that they're not just being asked to be an ATM machine, but there's a relationship built that is genuine, sincere, and possibly lasting. And so many either presidential hires or athletic director hires, especially in the world of Group of 5 or Group of 6 football or sports, young leaders have a chance to be there maybe 3 years, and then it's transitional, and there's another leader. And same at the presidential level. And if you don't, if you're not careful, the identity is lost through 2, 3, or 4 of those moves, and the anchor point and really the focal point of what an institution is and how it should operate has been lost over time because of the number of leaders that have been leading.
Bronco, we appreciate the time as always. Vanderbilt next week. Can you give people a quick scouting report?
Oh, man, what an amazing transformation that's happened at Vanderbilt. Their head coach is a good friend of mine. And when he became a head coach at Vanderbilt, I was just stepping away at Virginia, and we spent quite a bit of time together. It's been really fun to see a program maybe consistently over time that's been viewed as maybe not capable to now becoming a top 20 program, a favorite, one that is really transformed. And so really a dynamic team and plays in a league that's exceptional and really has, through strategy, through quarterback play, through coaching, and through culture, emerged as one of the favorites that maybe at one time would never even be considered to have a chance to compete and maybe didn't belong in the league. So really a cool story that's happened there in college athletics.
Thanks a lot, Bronco. Good luck with the game. We'll talk to you again next week.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
There's Bronco Mendenhall, Utah State head coach. Get somebody with some local knowledge. Born in Rexburg, worked at UVU. That'll help.
Well, yeah, when you think about it, man, he's the first AD coming in right off the bat who knows who Napoleon Dynamite was.
Okay.
You know?
Specific.
Other guys are like, well, huh? Ooh, what?
Specific local knowledge.
Yeah. Precisely. If you can go up to him, hey, would you? Oh, he's gonna throw the ball over that mountain, man. Boom. He can just recite it. That is what you need, and he should be able to hit the ground running. It shouldn't be a situation where, and every new job there is some acclimation period, of course, but his should be far less than if they went for somebody else. Now, the reality is, if he has a ton of success, and hopefully he does, he's going to get bigger opportunities. That's just the way it is. That's never going to change at Utah State. So, and really, when you look at it, you can go a lot of places. It's not particular to Utah State by any stretch.
No, you can look at the list of budgets and figure out who's got more money and who's got less.
And even some of the ones who have more, they don't have as much as somebody else.
Well, we've seen USC take a football coach from Oklahoma and LSU take a football coach from Notre Dame, so nobody's safe. Those places all have a lot of money and big reps and all that.
Yeah.
People will move.
Yeah, and Tempe, if you have success, you get another job. If you don't, you're fired. That includes football and athletic director's jobs. And he's getting to work for Danny White. He worked for Danny White. I love Danny White. You know what I mean?
Not the Danny White you're thinking of.
Right, but that's like somebody who was last name Irving, and so they're going to name their kid Julius. You don't name your kid Danny White. There's already a Danny White.
I would guess there's several hundred Danny Whites.
You can go Willie Mays Hayes. I'm fine with that. But not Willie Hayes Mays. You know what I mean?
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, The Zone, the locks of the week. Three guys at 3-0. We'll talk about that next. Stay with us.
It's game week for the Utes, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. The Utes head back east for their first Big 12 road game of the season as they get set for a showdown with West Virginia. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Utah football. Then catch college football Saturday game day at 10 a.m. with the postgame show immediately following the game on KSLSports.com.
Let's go then. Let's go, baby.
Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. And now, your Rocky Mountain Chevy dealer's strong play of the weekend.
They blocked him the last time. The ball is spotted. The kick is away. It's blocked! It's blocked! It's picked up by the Eagles. Running with it is Davis. 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown! Game over! Jordan Davis!
Are you kidding me?
Blocked him again!
Are you kidding me?
Blocked him again! Have you ever seen anything like this?
The Eagles blocked the game-winning field goal, run it back, win 33-26 over the Rams. That's the Chevy Strong play of the game. Know it this afternoon. Alex and JJ will call for it after 3 o'clock, and you can win fabulous prizes. The Rams were trying to kick that field goal and win 29-27. The lock of the week. You guys took the Bucs over the Jets. And that was, it looked like you had that thing in the bag there.
Thank goodness Baker Mayfield took it personally.
Woo! 21 fourth quarter points. Jets take the lead, but the Bucs kick the field goal. You got the W. You're 3-0.
Yeah, but locks of the week, I mean, it's somewhat of an oxymoron in the NFL. You know, I thought about going with the Vikings, but I listened to you, they can't score. And then the ghost of Fran Tarkington comes out.
They can score 48 points.
But you never really know. And so then obviously I went with Tampa Bay, figuring that was a better lock. I don't know that there's any difference in the long run if I would have gone Minnesota or Tampa Bay to be able to still have Tampa Bay available down the line. I feel good about where I am. It's a long season. I'm making progress.
You're improving. You're 3-0.
Yeah. The goal is to last the longest of the three and then
have the best record at the end of the season also.
Secondary goal, have the most locks.
Yeah. And it's elimination, so we're only allowed to use the team once. You've held on to some of the big dogs.
Yeah, it seemed like the thing to do. I don't know if it is the thing to do, but it seems like the thing to do. And sometimes you do things that, well, that seems right, You're not really sure.
Right. No, you've held on to the Eagles, and they figure to win a lot of football games. You've held on to the Bills, but, if Josh Allen were to have some injury week 6 or 8, and if you haven't used him, maybe it's a different deal then, and you would have been better using it. You don't know. You can't know that kind of stuff.
Well, then I take the team that the Bills are playing.
I don't think he'll do that.
If Josh Allen's out.
Okay.
And let's hope he's not out. He's a premier player.
Right.
And he's fun to
but
watch.
even so, inside that division, there's a lot of games they could win with a backup quarterback. I don't think they'll be winless if they were forced into that position.
I don't even know who the backup quarterback is.
Yeah. I still think that division, but that division struggles enough.
Oh, they're by far the best.
Right.
It's flipped.
It's one of the good reasons.
For years it was Patriots.
Right.
Now it's the Bills. But
Yes.
the rest of the teams haven't changed.
It's a big dog, maybe an okay team, and then 2 bad teams.
Yeah. And the big dog is legitimately a big dog.
Yeah. AFC power rankings right now: Bills 1, Chargers 2, Ravens 3, Colts 3, Chiefs. You don't want to give up on the Chiefs yet?
I don't know. I'd probably put Baltimore deserves it, and a lot of that is based on reps so early in the season or expectation.
Well, yes, those 2 things, but you saw them play the Bills, and that was a really good game.
I've seen them play the Bills when everything mattered. I've seen them play in a regular season. Yeah, that game, as I said, after it was done, might have been the best game that we'll have all season. Who knows? 2 high-quality teams going at it and coming down to the end, all that type of stuff. It's the same. This early in the season, I would default to the same cast of characters that we had going in. I think it's too early for me to make pronouncements.
The Colts are the team that is flipping the script on what they have been.
But it's too early.
Too early.
It's too early for me to make pronouncements. Watch out for the Colts, man. They got it going on. I don't know that yet.
Daniel Jones just had to get out of New York. Is there something unhealthy about New York? Quarterbacks are getting out of New York.
Jersey was never in New York.
Okay. Jersey is all the same. The New York metropolitan area. How about that?
Yeah, right. Southern California. It's all the same.
You're not 8 miles away. It's not the same. Didn't you grow up 8 miles from Manhattan?
8?
8. I thought you said that was the number.
No.
What was it? It was 8 miles to something. I have that number stuck in my head.
I think that was
to Madison
M&M.
Square Garden?
M&M.
Okay.
No, 8? No, it's about 25, 30.
Okay.
My mother worked in Harlem every day. No. So, it's here to Lehigh or whatever. But, yeah, it wasn't that close. But what's the difference? 15, 20 more minutes. Maybe that was it. And maybe it's also the level of experience, having gone through a tough situation. That tough situation just so happens to be in the metropolitan area, but it could have been in New Orleans, say, just to randomly pick a team.
Yock, you're referencing, some people know this storyline, some don't. Baker Mayfield said it was personal because the defensive coordinator was the guy who cut him in Carolina.
Steve Wilkes, yeah.
Everything is personal to him.
Yeah, right? So to double down on that, then I read a thing like, well, that's a nice story, but I was there and Baker asked for his release.
But that's what motivation is.
I know.
It's not pure 100% fact.
Right. And then Baker would probably come back, well, I asked for my release because he didn't believe in me, right? So you just back and forth and back and forth.
That stuff is in and out one ear. If that's what it takes and you need that, fine. Jordan was legendary for doing that, and all the great ones have that, I believe, to one extent or another.
3-0 Eagles, 3-0 Bucks coming up next week. So you got that going for you. DJ and PK, when we come back, Big 12 football. CBS Sports national college football writer Shehan Jeyarajah joins us. Stay with us. He's next right here on The Zone. Shehan Jeyarajah joining us once again. CBS Sports national college football writer. Shehan, good morning.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
So many good games in the Big 12, so many intriguing results. Texas Tech and Utah was a very competitive game for about 50 minutes. But, man, those last 3 possessions, Tech opened it up. I thought the quarterback injury, which on the surface you always think is a problem, was the best thing that happened to Tech. They have a couple deep balls, and the guy's open, but they're underthrown. It gets intercepted. Morton's got the 2 picks. They could have opened it up earlier. He gets knocked out. Backham comes in. He's money. Everything's on the spot. The 3 touchdowns and 3 drives. I thought the injury, it actually ended up helping him. What'd you think?
Yeah, I think that it was a shot in the arm in some ways. They really love Will Hammond at Texas Tech. He's somebody who was a star in high school, but never quite reached the level of some of the other quarterbacks in terms of recruiting rankings. But they felt like he was undervalued. They felt like he's a future star, and I think he proved it in so many ways. Now, look, I think that they still are definitely going to ride things out with Baron Morton. Apparently he's okay after the game. They kept him out of an abundance of caution. But, I think that for Morton, this is sort of these moments where you have to sit back and say, okay, let me go back and watch the tape. Let me go and figure out what's going well for Will Hammond that maybe I struggled with. I think, actually, ironically, the running component was something that they managed to use with Hammond a little bit better. But you just have to be able to hit on some of these deep shots with consistency to be able to move the ball against good defenses.
Which brings me to me, good for Hammond and all that, and we'll see what happens for them. But rather than just build up Texas Tech to be awesome, I'm more worried about Utah's offense because they were exposed, I guess, that if you can bottle up Dampier, and the longest run he had, I think it was like 7 or 8 yards, that they're just not good enough to try to beat you through the air. And I have a lot of concern now against the better teams that we may see a repeat of that.
Yeah, there's a couple pieces of this, right? One, Utah's not going to face a better defensive line pass rush for the rest of the year. Like this Texas Tech team came into the year being talked about like a playoff contender, and I think very much played like the Big 12 favorite and a playoff contender. So that's one piece of it. But I will say also, this was the concern that I had with this Utah offense coming in, is I think that there was a lot of assumption about Dampier being able to do some stuff in the passing game that frankly he just didn't do at New Mexico. Obviously, he has more structure around him. He has better pass protection. He has better receivers. But at the same time, the defenses are better. They know how to plan for him. And, not every team is going to be able to bottle him up to the same extent as a runner. But if he's just standing there in the pocket, you saw some of the issues that he had. He had passes batted down. I don't think he saw the field very well. There were very few passes of his that traveled further than 10 yards and were completed. And so for this Utah offense to have a chance to be really good, they're just going to have to find ways to make him more comfortable as a passer, because while not every team has the same type of defense as Texas Tech, they can game plan in different ways to try and keep him in the pocket, to really focus on setting the edge. And how he responds to that is going to be a huge part of how successful Utah can be this year.
If I had to narrow it down to one thing that I think can be a problem every week, because, and I think Tech's got more NFL defensive linemen than most, if not everybody in the league. But Dampier's inability to throw the deep ball on target and on time, we're 4 games in and we haven't seen it. The big pass completion against UCLA was underthrown, and Merriweather had to wait for it and come back and get it 36 yards. Can't hit him in stride. He missed Merriweather wide open on the sideline. It was a big play. Maybe it was a touchdown, but it should have been a 40 or 50-yard play. The one big play they had, and they only had 2 plays over 10 yards, and one of those was a 12-yard completion to Davis. Bentley for 44 yards. They get one chunk play. They score a touchdown. They have a long touchdown pass. That ball was heaved out there. He put his whole body into throwing it that far. So our defense is just going to be crowding the line of scrimmage, taking away all the short routes and playing with an extra defender in the box to stop the run game?
100%. And I was talking about this with a colleague, actually, while we were watching this game. And one thing is, when you're an undersized quarterback, it's kind of there's 2 ways to handle it, right? There's the Bryce Young way to handle it, and then there's more of the sort of get out and run way to handle it. And what I mean by that is with a player like Bryce Young, who is short but stays in the pocket, he typically, and maybe Drew Brees is probably the better example, but he typically stands up and has created ways to create, I guess, what you would call windows for himself, right? Where he can look around his offensive lineman. He's used to doing that. Well, I think with Devin Dampier, when you look at his time at New Mexico, that really wasn't something that he did. He was mostly creating space for himself in order to be able to see over his linemen. Well, in the Big 12, when you have defensive lines and defenses that are able to keep you to the pocket a little bit more, I think that you see that skittishness, that Devin Dampier just physically can't see the field as well as maybe he has when he's been able to get outside of the pocket. So I think that's a big part of it. You mentioned the timing. I think that's a huge part of it. Arm talent-wise, like he's a good, not great deep ball accuracy guy in the first place. But like, this is sort of the thing is, I mean, how long is it going to take him to work through some of these growing pains, to get used to being in the pocket, to get used to having to see around some of these humongous offensive linemen that obviously do such a great job for him? It's something that, again, I felt like was taken a little too for granted over the offseason. And definitely, I mean, you say that Texas Tech has the most defensive line talent in the Big 12. I mean, they legitimately might have the most in the country. And that is saying something. I'm comparing them to the Georgias and Alabamas of the world. But there are other teams that can present problems as well. And if they can just keep him in the pocket, again, like that's where I think that he's going to have the most trouble, especially if you're trying to create explosives.
Last week I told you my top four were Iowa State, Texas Tech, Utah, and TCU. Would you make any changes to that based on what was essentially week one?
Yeah, I wouldn't change a lot about it, to be honest. I think that, I think Utah is very much still capable of making it to a Big 12 title game. And, and certainly, again, if they can make adjustments and Dampier can grow, I think that they certainly could beat Texas Tech in a Big 12 title game. TCU's looked really good, like we expected. Texas Tech obviously did what they do. I think you start having conversations about, Arizona State wins a big game against Baylor over the weekend. I think that's pretty big for them heading forward. But I think that all the contenders that we thought last week are still very much contenders heading into week 5.
Colorado's 2-2 after beating Wyoming 37-20. It was 21-3 at the half. Colorado was up on them big at halftime. What do you think of the BYU Colorado game?
Yeah, I think this is a big opportunity for BYU to come out and have a big win. I've not been very impressed with Colorado to this point. The Wyoming game was fine, but, again, I don't think that Wyoming's a very good team right now. And even, their loss to Georgia Tech was only by 7, but it took 3 turnovers on the first 3 drives of the game for that game to even be close. So I think that BYU has a chance to go out there and really cause some issues for them. I think especially, defensively, I expect BYU to have a lot of success against a Colorado offense that just hasn't found itself to this point. And especially in the run game, I think they're going to be able to completely shut it down. And, look, I'm glad that we got to see a little bit of passing from Bear Bachmeier in that road game against East Carolina. That's obviously something that I've been wanting to see. This is a bigger test going against Colorado, but the Buffaloes also have some issues on the back end. So I think it's a potential breakout spot. And if they go and, if they go and have a huge, easy win over Colorado, I think that it's time to start putting them back into those national conversations.
If you're Auburn, do you just gracefully accept what essentially was the SEC's apology?
I mean, this is always the tough thing, right? It's like, what can you do, right? They're not going to go and replay the game. They're not going to go and, change the call and call it a tie or whatever you want to say. Like, it's just, you're kind of out of luck. Now, I think that if you're Hugh Freeze and you finish with a mediocre record, I think that you point to those moments and say, hey, well, maybe it wasn't supposed to be that way. Maybe we were a little closer than people might think. But, what else is there really to do, right? I mean, they got the public acknowledgement. The game is over. It's not going to change. So it's a really tough position for a program to be in. I mean, obviously, everybody, it feels like, who's a sports fan has probably their story of a moment like this, right? I mean, obviously, the Saints game a while back with the pass interference, that's kind of the big one. But, at the same time, it's just the game is over. You got one in the loss column. There's not a whole lot you can do other than that.
You were talking about UCF, and you thought they might be the worst team in the Big 12. They smoked North Carolina, and I don't know if that changes your opinion of UCF or if that changes or confirms an opinion of Bill Belichick in North Carolina. What did you make of that? Because UCF made it look really easy.
Yeah, I think that was much more about North Carolina, to be honest. But though I was genuinely pleased by the play of Taven Jackson, UCF's quarterback. I think that he stepped up to the moment as both a passer and a runner. That's something that I was hoping to see, and that's part of the reason I was so surprised that he didn't win the job out of camp. But, he definitely showed something. I think defensively, this is not a bad talent unit by any means, and I think that they were clearly more talented than North Carolina's offense, which really just wasn't able to get much of anything going against them. So, when you talk about worse in the league now, I think that Oklahoma State is probably making a heck of a case right now for that. But, I don't necessarily know that it changes a lot about how I view UCF quality-wise. I think that this is more a statement of just how completely unprepared Bill Belichick is to be a college football coach.
Yeah, that's for sure. I don't know that I can argue. I'm wondering what you do on Saturdays with your job as a national guy. Do you have to just have 40 TVs, or you get an opportunity to go to any games? How's that work for you?
Yeah, every weekend's a little bit different. It's funny that you asked this week because, 2 weeks ago I worked from my home office. I usually am watching about 6 games at a time out there and writing off of them. This week I actually got flown out to Florida to do studio work for CBS Sports HQ. So they've got a great setup out there. They've got 10 TVs up on the wall, and I can watch everything in between TV hits. But then, there are definitely weeks where also I get to go to games. So, actually, if I hadn't have gotten called to Florida, I was going to go to SMU TCU. But it just kind of depends. I go to probably 4 games or so a year, 4 or 5 maybe, before the postseason, of course. But, the thing is about covering national college football is you're paying attention to 60 games or whatever it is every weekend. It's actually in some ways harder to be on location focusing too close in on one game.
Exactly, yeah.
So you kind of find a balance depending on what week you're in.
Right. We deal with that. Having to go to stadiums. I'm always so grateful that BYU and Utah are offset.
And I do believe we just lost him. He dropped. That is the first thing to check every week is which TV window. Who's it? BYU's in a late window. Utah's going to West Virginia to play in the afternoon. That second TV window. Excellent.
Because I'll have it on the computer, but if I'm at a stadium, it's just so dang hard to really, really focus in on it.
Yeah.
Because the sound got to be down. And,
right.
And watching a replay, it's just hard to do.
Yeah. All right, Shehan's back with us right now. The Utes are going to West Virginia. West Virginia was a roller coaster. They had to be feeling good after they beat Pitt and won a rivalry game, and they got to be feeling terrible after Kansas just tore them apart. Is this the perfect bounce-back game for Utah, or could they be walking into a trap at West Virginia with a team that seems to be down and then up and then down again and just bouncing all over the place?
Well, Rich Rodriguez had one job when he took this job in 2025, and it was to beat Pitt. And now I think they're kind of just going to coast out the rest of the season. But this is a very young, new roster, and especially on the offensive line, they're just kind of a disaster right now. And they've kind of had to sit probably their better quarterback, Nico Martial, and go to Jalen Henderson because they just need somebody mobile out there who can make anything happen, especially after losing their star running back, Jaheim White, to injury. So I think that this is a great bounce-back spot. The defense, I would not be surprised if we're in shutout territory. And then offensively, I just don't think that West Virginia has the bodies to be able to keep up with Utah. But, it's one of those things, too, where, I hope that we get to see Utah work on some of their deep passing game a little bit, like you said, that we get to see Devin Dampier practice standing in the pocket. But they won't need him to do that to win this game. It's more, can they use this as an opportunity to keep growing?
Shehan, thanks for the time. We appreciate it as always. Good luck with 60 games this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you so much for having me.
Shehan Jeyarajah joining us right here, CBS Sports National College Football writer. Everything you missed in this show, we'll get to it next. Stay with us.
It's game week for the Aggies, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. Bronco, Mendenhall, and the Aggies are back in SEC country as they battle Vanderbilt in Nashville. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Aggie football. Then catch all the play-by-play action beginning with the Aggie pregame show this Saturday morning at 9:30 on 1280 The Zone. Your exclusive home for Aggie football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Soccer Radio headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary, 801-899-7600, or visit the website at TrajanWealth.com.
Oh, yeah.
Talked a lot of college football this morning. What went wrong for Utah? 4 turnovers. Obviously, Kyle Whittingham went to that first. But secondarily, the run game, 101 yards rushing when it was all said and done. But as Kyle pointed out, some of that came in garbage time after the game was decided. He was really disappointed. They were in 2nd and 8 and 3rd and 6 a lot. We had talked forever about, hey, they're going to have to throw the ball. What happens when they're, quote-unquote, behind the chains, 3rd and long. And, man, right out of the gate, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, didn't convert any of them early in the game. It was like the worst-case scenario. And there's clearly no deep threat down the field. Texas Tech sitting on all the short routes.
I mean, they did hit on a couple deep passes. One was called back, obviously, and then Bentley got sprung free. But, yeah, this is what it's about now. I mean, Jason Beck, that's why you're being paid the money that you're being paid, to come in and figure this thing out and make the adjustments necessary. I mean, they're never going to be a vertical passing team. They're not a vertical passing program, let alone a team.
But a threat of it. They've had a threat of it, and then they could run the ball. And there's no threat of it, at least in that game. We'll see if they have
in that
something
game,
down the
you're
line.
right. I can't argue with that. But I don't know how much they've had it overall.
I don't think the threat's been on film there in the first 3 weeks. I thought Texas Tech came in with that game plan. We're going to dare them.
The game plan is obvious.
Yeah.
You don't need to be Spags for the Chiefs to figure it out.
Spags. For the Utes, how does Parker end up with 6 carries? I mean, that seems like just a surprisingly low number.
You're going to get more production out of him if you gave him 10?
Or 12 or 15, the whole wear them down kind of thing? I mean, you're limited a little bit because you can't get first downs and you keep leaving the field.
Yeah.
So that is a problem. But I thought he was the guy, and Kyle talked about him like he was the guy.
No, he didn't.
6 carries.
As camp went
Rodgers,
on.
as this camp went on, he did. Then it was Rodgers, and they're going to split time. And Rodgers had 10 carries.
They had nothing going. Try whatever. Nothing was working. So to answer your statement, to respond to it anyway, yeah, he should have gotten more. But everything, there's nothing you can't say that they should have done ABC better. But ABC and D and E and F weren't working, and I'd have to sing the alphabet to get past F to know what the next letter is.
G.
A, B,
Whiz.
C, D, E, F, G. Yeah, right. But I don't know off the top of my head. You know what I mean?
Hello.
Like, oh my gosh, if I ever got stopped by the police and they wanted me to recite the alphabet backward, I could barely do it forward.
That's not a fair test, officer.
Yeah, let's try some other stuff.
That doesn't tell you anything other than I don't know the alphabet.
Yeah, off the top of my head. Come on.
So the upside to this is maybe that Texas Tech D-line. We just had Sean on, and you can listen to that wherever you get your podcasts. And he's like, hey, right there with the best D-lines in the SEC, one of the best D-lines in the country, may not face a test like that the rest of the way.
Right, but then I can argue, so what? You couldn't do jack squat against them, so maybe you do a little bit more against one that isn't quite as good. I don't really take any solace in that. We tend to do that when the Utes get beat. Oh, my gosh, that other team was just all that. I'm not so sure that's true.
Who's all that in the Big 12? Iowa State?
Well, I don't know that any of them are, but who's better on that given day? That's what it boils down to.
When we were talking to the Fox guys up there, it seemed like certainly it was Brady Quinn, and I can't remember if Urban said it. He might have said it too, that they thought that Texas Tech and Utah were better than Iowa State. Now maybe they're just selling the game that they're doing that week, or maybe off what they've seen of Iowa State.
They're talking to Utah media.
Yeah.
Come on.
So Texas Tech now.
It's a TV show. Yeah. That whole pregame thing. It's a TV show.
There's so much throwing helmets and trash cans and stuff.
It's a carnival, it's a circus, and I don't know if it got on the air, but Portnoy, whoever it was, we are so much better than that other network that just uses 4 letters. Yeah, I mean, and then it goes, it was fun. Yeah. Everyone's up at the crack of dawn. You're already cranky, and your emotions are at a fever pitch. So I wouldn't. Urban said, "Oh, this is the best team. They're going to win another one, and Kyle's going to get another ring." And the crowd goes, "Run!" Come on.
Yeah. Urban's always going to talk up Kyle.
And they're buddies. Absolutely, yeah. So I get that. But I'm not concerned about them beating Texas Tech because that's over. I'm concerned about them moving the ball against down the list. And I don't have their schedule. I know they play West Virginia.
And their bye week.
West Virginia, ASU, Utah, or BYU, I mean.
Right. With a bye week.
Next 3 games.
With a bye week before ASU.
That's all I know off the top of my head.
Right. But the ASU and BYU games look like big tests. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off.
They were always going to think, I would think they would be big tests, but I'm more concerned about their offense because it doesn't take a genius to figure out, oh my gosh, let's just stuff these guys, and then they're not going to beat us. And then if we make a few big plays, we should be able to be okay. I mean, I'm simplifying it down to its basic form, and who knows, because if Utah's defense comes up with 3 or 4 turnovers, and they had them in the first half.
They had 2, yeah. They had 2 picks on underthrown balls.
That's why I didn't think Texas Tech is somehow we've created this Texas Tech team to be enormous, which we tend to do when somebody beats Utah, especially at Rice
but you thought it before they beat Utah. You've been talking about all the money they've got. They're poised to be among the elite in the league. It doesn't mean you win it every year, but they should always be in the mix.
Yeah, but I'm thinking the best is yet to come. But I had Iowa State and Texas Tech playing in Arlington, and until either or both get eliminated, I'm not changing.
BYU gets the win at East Carolina. Slow start. Offense looking good in the second half, though, so you forgive them the first half, a couple of field goals, and the defensive touchdown. They're up 13-3 at the half.
Yes, it's all about progression of number 47, and he's progressing at the level they need him to. I'm wondering if we get to November and they're really flying high, if he doesn't go by Bachmeier, he goes by Rockmeier.
Giving up on Grizzly Bear already?
Giving up on Grizzly?
The TV guy used it, so you're moving on?
No, I like to be, it's like my financial portfolio.
Diversified.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The more crap you throw against the wall, the better chance.
Especially some 6, man. But you got see, I didn't know, because I definitely heard it. I mean, and you're right that we're watching multiple games, and so you can't have the sound up on every game. You can't focus on every word everybody says. But I definitely heard Grizzly Bear on the TV broadcast. It jumped out at me. I'm like, and I assumed that you were going to be like, people are catching on. I lead the way. You know, I thought that would be the whole thing.
Oh, no,
but instead,
I'm
you
too
went
humble
with
for that.
Stealing my stuff. So I figured maybe you're just moving on to Rockmeier. You want your own.
It's not Rock. It's Rockmeier.
Rockmeier.
Come on.
Like the rock monster.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. I got it there.
Rockmeier run all the way. Bear looking like a grizzly.
Oh,
Yeah,
shut up.
Rockmeier.
What you prefer right now? I can go either way.
I like Rockmeier, honestly.
No, Grizzly's the way.
Oh, okay, it's a split
man,
vote. We're going to have to put this
wow.
up to the people. Poll question coming. Poll question coming. Go ahead, talk. I got to type out a poll
Yeah,
question.
because you just can't Bachmeier. I mean, come on. You got to come up with something different, man. Right? That's how you're going to be noticed. And so I'm thinking the Grizzly Bear. And then you won't. If you go with the Grizzly Bear every time, you won't make a mistake. I don't know how you got Brett last week, but if you want the Grizzly Bear Bachmeier, then you're good to go. But Rockmeier actually sounds pretty good, too. I think I might be split.
That's probably the most honest thing you've said all morning.
Or I'm nuts, one of the two. So I like the way he's progressing. And the thing about it, people out there in Radio Land, it was always going to be him. They had really no choice. This was the right move, 100%. It's why I got a little insight that that's most likely who it was going to be. And so far, so good. Not so far, so great. So far, so good.
PK wants to know, what should number 47's nickname be? Grizzly Bear, Rockmeier, other? Leave below. If people have some suggestions, we can just tweet them back at
Well,
us.
I hope you uppercased Rock. You gotta sell it too. You just not
hit that.
Rockmeier.
Oh, no, not Rock O'Meyer. Hold on, typo. There we go. Rock. How about Rock Dashmeyer?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you say it, and if this offense rocks, then they've got a shot. And then you're looking at BYU. Can they do this consistently? Because if they can do it with a freshman first year, not even a redshirt, a first-year freshman quarterback, it stands to reason they can do it with a sophomore and a junior. And if he's that good, then he goes to the NFL, and then
we're 3 years out.
Rider on the Storm Lions comes in.
Everything changes in the long run in college football.
Yeah.
Look at this year, and okay, you can look at the next year, but that's
I
it.
already set the stage for Rider on the Storm Lions.
Rider on the Storm
Lions, yeah.
Bum, bum, bum,
yeah, and you can use that. We've got a few years. Has he gotten his 7-week mission call yet?
Not yet. Nope. 7-week mission. One transfer instead of 1 year. We're going one transfer.
Is that what it is? Is they transfer every 7 weeks?
It's 6 or 7. Yeah, it's right in that range.
Oh. Well, would he go? I assume he would go right out of high school, right?
Yeah, he's planning on leaving right away. He's planning on leaving. I think he's going to graduate early, I think, too. So
to go on his mission?
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for it, man. And, hey, I'm just joking. That kid wants to go out and serve a year. That is none of my freaking business. I think nothing of it either way, whatever.
We had Bronco on earlier this morning. You were fascinated by the psychology. 6 positive comments to 1 negative.
Yeah, boy, man, there is a place reserved in hell for me.
You didn't get the 6-to-1 ratio? What did you grow up with? What was it in Jersey when you're playing CYO hoops and Little League baseball? What was the ratio of positive and negative in your memory? I mean, who knows how accurate this is? We're going back decades,
Well, I'd
obviously.
have to steal the number from Bachmeier. I'd go 47-0.
Okay.
I'm thinking all the mistakes I made. Gosh, they'll haunt me forever. But I was a little different in terms of...
I just think coaching was different
I was
then.
left alone to a large degree.
But the coach didn't, yell at practice or in games or whatever?
Yeah, but I think back there, sarcasm is so prevalent that you just roll with it.
My coach yelled all the time.
I played CYO hoop, and I can remember the coach screaming at me, "You're showboating." Yeah, I'm like, no kidding. And then
Confirmed.
And my father, he ended up coaching basketball at the CYO, and I took most of the shots on the team, and he'd take me out. "You're shooting too much." Tough. And you just grow up different back there. But I get where Bronco's coming from, and I know he's studied about this because I've talked to him about it and all that stuff. And I've had a lot of people in the community ask me about Bronco at Utah State because they know I covered him for literally his whole time in Provo. And I think that Bronco gets the types of players that he wants, and they buy into his, some people would say quirkiness. I'll go with uniqueness, style. His style is something, if you buy into it, I really believe that program will have success, and you individually will have success. And I haven't changed my thought on that forever. He's not for everybody, but if he's for you and you're for him, it will work.
We talked a little NFL this morning. Teams that have impressed you or teams that have amazed you by being as bad as they are.
Nothing. But
I thought you were going to say Chargers. You're on board.
No, but I've already been on board.
Okay, they just swept the division and scored on their last 2 possessions. The defense, the quarterback gets a lot of run, as you'd expect. A, he's good, and B, he's a quarterback.
He had a touchdown pass running to his left.
Freakish
and
play.
And then the guy's practically smacking his arm.
And you're skipping the part where he steps up in the pocket.
Yeah.
He almost got sandwiched.
Right. But he's a big dude.
Yeah. But that was the mobility. Step forward,
and he
the
makes
2
that
defensive ends
throw.
loop behind him.
And he was sort of under-recruited. He's a Eugene kid. He stayed home. I think he was a baseball guy. We had him on the show every year, Pac-12 Media, and he would say that. I think this kid is an emerging talent. So have they surprised me?
Yeah,
No.
I'd go beyond emerge. I mean, this is, I think, his 6th or 7th year. 6th, I think.
Yeah, but I don't think he's on that top tier yet.
I agree with that.
So that's emerging.
Yeah. Yeah, he's 0-2 in the playoffs. And
But
so
the
there's
team was
something to
all
be done.
screwed up when he first got
Well, the coach
there.
has gotten a lot better. I mean, it was not – we talk about that when it's Alex Smith, you know.
Did you see a couple of weeks ago, Trevor Lawrence, the coach at Jacksonville, screams at him, and Lawrence just blows him off? Because he knows, dude, what's the chances of you going to be here in 5 years?
It's just turning over every –
Whereas
I was going to say 3 or 2.
in San Diego, or excuse me, in this
LA.
time – wait,
Harbaugh's
it's
the guy.
Southern California, it's all the same.
Okay.
And, yeah, so I better listen. Plus, he walks in, it's like Phil Jackson when he walked in with the Lakers. I got all sorts of credibility here, people. If you don't listen, that's a you problem. And so what those two dudes on the Lakers, the two big dudes, Shaq and Kobe, that right off the bat.
He could say the same thing Del Harris said, but it carried more weight. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And Harbaugh's been to a Super Bowl and had the undefeated Michigan team win the college title, so.
Producing first-round draft choices.
Yep.
So everybody's on board. Yeah, I think they're a dangerous team.
Bills, Chargers, Colts are 3-0. Ravens are playing tonight. They're 1-1 with a chance to get to 2-1. They got the 1-point loss to the Bills. I would say right now, the Bills are the top tier. The Ravens and the Chargers are the next tier. And then there's a bunch of teams.
Teams, too.
Oh, I was just talking AFC. I was separating out.
But I would say in the league.
You're doubting the Eagles a little bit? Dropping them a peg?
No.
That's why I was separating it out.
No, I put them all in there.
Yeah, and I did think Eagles won Packers 2 in the NFC after 2 weeks, and the Packers, oops. That was a lot of things going wrong at the end of the game, and you get beat by a 55-yard field goal. And
yeah, but you allowed that to be in the position to have that.
You did. That was a big interception late in the game. So, there were problems.
Great, the 55-yarder, which those kickers, that doesn't surprise me anymore.
NFL kickers out at 50 has been a lock for a long time, and now 55.
Which is why you need to, I keep telling them.
Narrow the goalposts.
Will you get Tagliabue on the line? No, don't narrow the goalposts.
Tagliabue?
No.
He's retired.
No.
Goodell.
No. That narrow the goalposts, that hardly does anything because most of them are right down the middle. I know you want to argue with me, but yet I have the rep for arguing, and I live with that, and I embrace it. But you limit it. You get 3. I'll give you 2.5. You get 2 chances to kick a field goal per half.
Would that have impacted yesterday's game with the Browns?
I have no idea.
Oh. Yeah.
But
I know they made 2 field goals in the second half. I didn't know how many they attempted.
The fans don't want a field goal fest.
No.
But they want to see 55-yarders, so I don't want the goalpost narrowed. I want them, if you have the ability to do that, and you save one, it's like your timeouts. You save one. If somebody takes a timeout because they didn't line up right, everybody goes nuts. The home crowd boos, even if you don't even need the timeouts at the end of the game. What's that guy doing? He doesn't know how to run a team, clock and score, wake up, blah, blah, blah. It'd be the same thing here with the strategy.
Packers and Browns with 2 field goals apiece in that game. So your rule wouldn't have impacted that. That one would have played out. Could have played out the same way.
And then maybe we see more going for it on 4th downs. That's excitement. Get Roselle on the line.
Nice recovery. You know, I've been talking to Pete Rozelle. Mike Singletary's eyes get big. All right, your feedback is next. We'll get the early results on the poll question for Bear Bachmeier's nickname.
Well, once you put me up there, they're going to go against it.
Well, I didn't say which one was yours. I just said you want advice.
Yeah, but they know. They listen to every word I say. Are you kidding me? You thought Urban Meyer was a celebrity at the game spiel? You should have seen all the people coming up to me.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
And it's all over almost here.
Don't go nowhere.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. It is time for your feedback. All right, PK, it's early here. What should number 47's nickname be? Just put this up in the right before the break. We got 12 votes. 66.7% of the votes for Grizzly Bear. 0 for Rockmeyer. And other 33%.
Any suggestions on other?
Yes.
How's that work?
Rock, I don't get the need for a nickname. Bear is good enough on its own. Dale, Bear's already such a solid first name. No nickname is needed. Classless Skip, how about BB47? And he's got AK-47 dunking the ball. See, AK-47 is a gun. It's a BB gun. His initials are BB.
No. Be a BB gun. It ain't something stronger than that.
There you go. He's built like a fullback. He's not a twig.
Yeah. He's pretty thick. That's for sure.
He is. BYU has a little trouble with East Carolina, goes 3-0 in the non-conference. Your evaluation of the team going into Big 12 play. Daniel, potential! Exclamation point. Got to take it each week, one game at a time.
No, you don't. They do. We don't.
Rod, we will win a few home games.
Let's see. What do they got? 5? How many conference home games do they have? Because you're going to have 5 or 4, right?
Your schedule guy, I don't know.
I don't know. I thought maybe you had it up.
I pulled it up. They have 5 road, 4 home.
Okay.
West Virginia, Utah, TCU, and UCF are the home games.
Well, you lose a home game. It's not necessarily devastating, but it can be. And psychologically it is. You get a road win. Road wins, unless it's like a last second dramatic. My experience in all these years is that road teams who win,
it's a party.
It's a bigger celebration. Because it just seems like it's more important, even though it all counts the same. You know what I mean?
Yep, and you could hear the BYU fans celebrating behind the postgame. I thought of you describing the setup at Oregon for postgame. I don't know what East Carolina has, but like Kalani was talking, and you could hear.
Yeah, he came out.
Yeah, you could just hear the people chanting, BYU in the background and that.
Right. Yeah. Some of those get rinky-dink. Utah used to be rinky-dink, but now they have a nice setup for the visiting team. And it's awesome, actually.
We do have a lot of reaction to the Utes. Texas Tech crushes Utah. Who saw that coming? And there are plenty of Cougar fans commenting on this. They all saw it coming.
They didn't.
Texas Tech tried to give that game to Utah, and Utah still couldn't win. Sideways laughing, crying emoji. Thanks for coming back, Whit.
There's something to that makes me a little even more nervous, because that's why I'm not willing to crown Texas Tech as the team to beat.
The 2 picks
they stumbled all over themselves.
After they had the takeaways, and you thought, okay, there's a momentum-changing play, and they give it right back with turnovers.
And I love the play calling for Texas Tech when they make the change. Have them hand off, everything's safe, see where you're at, see where he's at, and you've got the defense, you're cooking there, so don't screw it up, and then they can open it up if it works. And that's exactly what happened. And then all of a sudden, Will Hammond had tons of confidence, like, man, I got this. And you could just see it. Meanwhile, Utah's still over there. They weren't going to make a change, and they had nothing going. It's interesting. You have a redshirt freshman over here that you're not playing. They have a redshirt freshman that, no problem.
Want to take a shot at the point spreads for this week? They're out.
I do.
Go ahead.
Well, what do I got?
BYU, Colorado.
Oh, man. I want to say BYU, but I don't think I can. So I'll do the minimum home field advantage.
So Colorado by 3? BYU by 6.5.
Ooh, that seems way out of line to me.
Utah, West Virginia.
Oh, I'm going to go. I think it'll be lower than this, but I'm going to go 15.
Utah by 9.5.
Yeah. I thought it would be 10, but I was asking my prediction.
TCU at Arizona State.
2?
ASU by 2.5.
Yeah, that's if whoever wins that game, that's a huge win. There's no other way around it.
Going to feel great about themselves. TCU goes in there, wins their conference opener, beats the defending champ on the road, and ASU's off to a 3-1 start, and the one loss is one play with 30 seconds left.
And they'd be 2-0. Yeah, you can sell that. And that it's important for them to keep the Mo, because if the Mo slips, fan base, we're out.
DJ and PK, Jake and Ben are up next right here on The Zone.